are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually built trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapalmo on X and stay tuned to the
Football Full Circle.
Dallas Cowboys is like the New York Giants. They're a polarizing organization, but I'll throw out potentially 3 names that I believe will be mentioned in terms of this gig. I told you Kellen Moore. How about Deion Sanders potentially to Big D? If anybody loves Jerry Jones and vice versa, it's Deion. And how about John Gruden?
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. Let's make something crystal clear. The winning edge has nothing to do with increasing good luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's sports gaming strategies and information. You want luck? Flip a coin. You want to win? Flip it here. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Scumbags! Rage! Sports Rage with Gabe Morency.
Rage all you want.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gable Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Monday Night Meltdown has begun. A game day edition. A Monday night playoff game. Like I said, they didn't used to do this in the old days. And, well, I'm glad there's a football game on tonight. I think it's a stupid idea, to be honest. Why are you playing football games on Monday night when these teams are playing on the weekend after? And honestly, you got these teams that are already at a disadvantage as it is, flying around, playing in Arizona. Now you got them playing on a short week after, playing on Monday night. But whatever. It's all about, getting games on TV. It won't be long. You got to imagine that eventually the NFL will just be on 7 days a week. You know what I mean? They're going to say, well, we played Wednesday without a problem on Christmas. Like Jerry Jones said, we're going to be playing on Christmas no matter what day it is from now on. Moving forward, they already have Thursday night. They started with the Friday games this year. They got Saturday, they got Sunday. What days don't they have? Tuesday and Wednesday. We're not really far away, really, from them saying, yeah, you know what? Let's just have a Tuesday night game of the week. Hell, why not? I would. It's all about money. So they're going to make more money. So they're playing in Arizona, obviously. The fires rage on in Los Angeles, although spreading around different parts of the city, dying down a bit. But they're playing this game, obviously, in Arizona tonight. I don't really know if there's going to be a home. There's no really advantage to anybody. And really, it doesn't really matter where games are played. Sort of weather comes into play here. As I stated, Matt Stafford's been in the league a long time. You really think he cares? Once the game starts and they start playing, whether there's a bunch of fat Viking fans or a bunch of loud Ram fans, does Sam Darnold play well or not? You know what I'm saying? It comes down to actually what's going to happen on the field, not what happens in the stands. So as far as this football game is concerned, I got to be honest, I'm a little bit, I was a day late, dollar short, more than I won over the weekend. And it's basically the totals that did us in. And Cam, there's been 5 playoff games so far, and 4 of them have gone under the number. And the only one that went over, ironically enough, was the first one with the Chargers and Texans. Nothing's gone over since. Now you lead into tonight, and I hate betting unders, and I always say, man, if I bet an under, I'm going to lose. But I don't think this game is a track meet tonight, guys, for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the Los Angeles Rams really, they're not an explosive offense, the Rams. They can be efficient, but they're not explosive. This isn't like the fastest show on turf Rams. They run the ball a lot. A lot of it is quick hit passing. They don't really throw the ball deep. Their drives are pretty sustained. You know what I mean? Like Nakul will rack up a bunch of catches on one drive type of deal. But they're not an explosive team. The Vikings can be. So I think McVay's not going to want to get into a track meet with the Vikings. He doesn't have the horses to keep up if they get into a track meet. And then on the other side, guys, I think if you're Kevin O'Connell, who is a smart coach, after seeing what we saw last week from Sam Darnold, I got to believe that the Vikings are going to say, we're running the ball to start this game. Like, the worst case scenario for the Vikings is Sam Darnold drops back the pass on the first drive and throws an interception. And then his confidence is going to be shot. And the you know what I mean? Like, they're going to want to ease Darnold into this after what happened last week. That was bad last week, right? Whatever it was, 17 for 42, whatever the hell it was. It was bad. So I'm rolling the dice here, and I'm going all in on this. We're going under 9.5 in the first quarter. So under 9.5 points in the first quarter, under 23.5 points in the football game, in the first half of the football game. So under 23.5 first half, under 9.5 in the first quarter of the game. We played a teaser with the Rams up to plus 9.5 and under 54.5. We got the Rams plus 3. And I play the same game odds boost because I like the value, and I think it could potentially hit. And that's Cooper Kupp 6 or more receptions, and Justin Jefferson 6 or more receptions at plus 300. Now Kupp's prop is 4.5. That's why we're getting nice plus money with this. But at plus 300, I thought that was worth a little bit of a boost. Nakua's his reception prop, guys, is 7.5. So he's got to get to 8. He probably does, but, you know, Cam, I've been talking about a lot. Like, I brought it up last night. One of the reasons why these games go under the number in the playoffs, you see it in hockey, too. Like, one of the reasons, basketball, one of the reasons they're going under, it's the playoffs, bro. And other teams, they get dialed up and locked in into stopping your strengths. They know what your strength is. So it's like, all right, we know this is what you do 75% of the time, and this is what's worked for you in a regular season all year. We're not going to let you do this, right? That's why the Ravens have lost in the past. Like, you need a plan B, or you need to be able to just play smash mouth football and say, we're just going to run the football. And then teams get more conservative in the playoffs. Everybody runs the ball more. Hell, the Bills ran the ball like 12 out of 14 plays in a row yesterday.
Effectively.
But the Bills, they'll run the ball. Like, teams will run the ball, and then they'll milk the play clock down as well. They want to shorten the game. Every coach just wants to shorten the game in the playoffs and keep the other team on the sideline. So you'll notice in a regular season, when an offense is rolling and stuff, they'll snap the ball with like 15 seconds left on the play clock, 12 seconds, 15 seconds or whatnot. They're not looking at the clock. They're just in a rhythm. You'll notice now in the playoffs, everybody does it, man. They all line up. They look at the play. Then they check with the sideline. Do we still like this play? And they're talking in the earpiece. Do you want to change it? No, change it. Like yesterday, there was a sequence, guys, where Jalen Hurts changed the play like 3 times at the line of scrimmage in a 6-second span. They were going to go pass, then they went run, then he changed it again. And you get a lot of that now. Every play is just so overly, magnified that nobody wants to do it in a hurry. So the clock just sort of ticks. So the total has come down to 47.5 in this game. I didn't play it. I didn't play that. I played under 9.5 first quarter, under 23.5 first half. Rams plus 9.5, under 54.5, and Rams plus 3. So by my standards, I really don't have a ton of plays on this game. As it is now, I've only got 5 bets, but bigger units, and we will add a couple of more plays before kickoff. What do you got, Ken?
Gabe, I'm trying the old teaser everywhere tonight. Exactly what you said. Minnesota plus 4.5, over 40.5. Rams plus 9.5, over 40.5. Minnesota plus 4.5, under 54.5. Rams plus 9.5, 54, under. I think we can middle. You're absolutely correct about the unders. These teams, you also want to keep, less plays, keep guys healthy and milk clock. Exactly what you said. I was shocked that the Washington game didn't go over. Receptions, I'm going to go with Tyler Higbee, low-hanging fruit here, over 2.5, tight end, a big one for the Rams tonight, and 23.5 receiving yards. For the Vikings, I like Hawkinson, over 4.5 catches, and I like his yardage over 42.5. for Hawkinson there. What else do I got? Jones, anytime touchdown, plus 100. My first touchdowns, Hawkinson, 11-1, Higbee, 18-1, and I have a play on Minnesota winning the game on the money line.
Yeah, speaking of touchdown scorer props, Kieran Williams has been the go-to guy with the Rams, man, for these first touchdown scores. Like, he really has been pretty consistent. And you can argue we're getting a little bit of value on this because he's usually like plus 250, plus 300. It's that much that he gets the first touchdown for them. He's plus 450. So Williams plus 450, first touchdown score prop, I will play. You know what? I'll go with Aaron Jones, Cam. I'm going to go with the both running backs here. I'll play both running backs on each team. So Aaron Jones, first touchdown score, plus 650. Kieran Williams, first touchdown score, plus 450. I like Cam's Hawkinson. I think Hawkinson, 42.5 yards I can live with, and/or you want to go with the receptions, but Hawkinson will be involved.
Losers rely on luck. Winners depend on getting the information they need.
Winners depend on us.
The home of the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Money line.
The more he lost, the more he cheated. The more organizational changes at Michigan that he made. He'll do the same thing with the Chargers. You need a coach that's willing to put your team on the edge to win a championship, and Harbaugh is going to do that. I'm buying the Chargers' future because they got a coach that will do whatever he can to win a championship, which includes cheat all the way there.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
Seems like everybody has an opinion on how to do sports gaming, but consider your source. If you want to listen to your mother-in-law,
That's a choice.
so get your information from the voice of authority. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, Kieran Williams, first touchdown of the football game. Plus 450. Let's put this in. And as we stated, we'll play both running backs today. We'll go old school. Aaron Jones, first touchdown score of the football game. Plus this is anytime touchdown is plus 100. First touchdown score, plus 650. So we got a plus 450 and a plus 650. I didn't play it. I'm not playing the long field goal prop. I'm not going to play it just for the sake of playing it. And I'm not a fan of the fact that it's 50.5. It's high. Like they're not playing around now in the playoffs. They're up to 50.5 right now with these long field goal props. And hell, there was even 50.5 in some of these outdoor games. And we got it last night in the Tampa game because weather's not a factor. Now I was going to play tonight. You figure, well, weather's not a factor tonight either, playing in Arizona indoors. But the Vikings kicker isn't that good. And I don't think O'Connell knows that. He knows his kicker's not that good. Like, anyone who watches Viking games knows it's a shaky experience whenever they try to kick a field goal. So, and that's another thing. In the playoffs, coaches are much more hesitant. They want to be sure their kicker is going to make it if they're going to do it. Right? In the regular season,
Reichert.
What's that?
Reichert, the Vikings kicker, got hurt a couple weeks ago, and he had like that rap on him. Yeah. My Alabama's old kicker. But yeah, so
I don't care if he's hurt.
He's hurt. He's still
as I was saying,
Ed sucks.
As I was saying, the coaches, they don't want to give the ball at midfield. Like, you know what I mean? They don't want to give the ball up if you try a long field goal. The other team gets the ball where they miss the kick. So in the regular season, they'll do it. Like, they'll be like, yeah, whatever. All right, if we miss, we miss. In the playoffs, they don't F around. They're like, no. Like, we've seen numerous times over the weekend already where coaches have punted from inside the other team's 45-yard line and so 40. Right? They're like, no, we're not. You know, we'd rather just pin them than, and like I said, especially if your kicker's shaky. And the Rams kicker is whatever, kind of hit or miss. So I'm not really in love with it. Put it this way, if somebody has to kick a long field goal in this game, I think it's only because they have to late. Like, I don't think they're voluntarily thinking, yeah, you know what, let's try some 52-yard field goals here tonight. I could be wrong. Last night, Zane Gonzalez hit a bunch of them. We got a couple of them. All right, so we're getting ready for kickoff here right now. The Los Angeles Rams will get the football first. And let's see if we get a kickoff. Yesterday, it got to the point with the Green Bay Packers, Cam. I was thinking, you guys should just, like, call a fair catch. Don't take, don't return these kicks. Like, they returned the opening kick. There was the fumble that led to the touchdown. After they returned a kick and there was a penalty and they got, like, pinned back. And then it was like, guys, every time they kick off to you, like, you're making this, like, harder on yourselves. Like, I know, the Green Bay Packers were destined to lose yesterday no matter what. Mm-hmm. But, man, like, they dug themselves a hole early by fumbling the opening kickoff. And then the constant injuries coming into play yesterday. It's been a strange weekend of NFL football. And the Rams open up with a bullet. So there goes my under 9.5 in the first quarter. First down Rams.
Don't worry, man. A lot of football left, but yeah, they look pretty good in that first throw. That's the whole thing about these games. And I got to be honest with you, Gabe, despite having the Eagles, I thought the Packers got jobbed on a lot of calls in that game, but it didn't really seem to matter. They screwed themselves, but that kickoff, the guy got murdered. And he had possession of the ball when he got murdered, and they gave it to Philadelphia. There's a lot of things that really went against Green Bay in that game. And yeah, you talk about bad luck. You don't just lose players, you lose your best receivers. They had fourth and fifth string guys out there the whole game. I kind of felt bad for them, to be honest with you.
Oh, no, I felt bad for myself because I was on the Green Bay Packers plus the points, and they nearly covered, actually, despite, like, everything that went against them. They were kind of right there. So as we stated, they opened up the football game with a deep down the field pass over the middle of the field to Nacua. So there's a big chunk for Nacua off the top. As we stated, his prop was 7.5 receptions tonight. And it sounds like a lot, guys, but he's pretty much unstoppable. And that's the one thing with the Rams, too, that they are a good prop team, at least. Unlike, like, the Bills are tricky, right? Like, the Bills throw to a million different people. They have so many different players. The Rams really don't throw to too many people. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to throw it to Nacua. They're going to throw it to Kupp over and over, and they're going to mix in a shot to the tight end. And Stafford's hot early here, which if I'm Minnesota, I'm a little bit concerned about, actually. Stafford is normally a slow. Did he drop that? Let me see the replay. I think he dropped it.
I got Higbee.
It bounced out.
Yeah,
I think it bounced
sure
out.
did. Yeah, you're right. That's not a catch.
Well, they're giving him the catch.
Did they hit the ground? No, it bounced out, but it might have not hit the ground. Wow. Crazy. That's good for, how many yards was that? Let's see, got to get 23.5. That was pretty big. Almost there.
This is also, we'll see if the Vikings can, if they can stop them holding to a field goal here, if they score a touchdown. But if I'm the Vikings as well, man, this is a nightmare. Like, if the Rams score early here, there's a couple of nightmare scenarios for the Vikings. One is, like I said earlier, the Sam Darnold throws an interception on one of his first plays, and they realize that, you know what, he can't play in a big game. We're in a lot of trouble. And or the Rams easily march down the field, put 7 points on the board, and suddenly there's pressure on Sam Darnold that they have to come back. And it's like, all right, you're going to, like, if the Rams are scoring here, suddenly there's pressure on Darnold. It always, like I said, though, you always see this, Cam. It gets really tough to score in the playoffs when you get inside the 20.
Big time.
So we'll see if they're able to finish this off. But we got a third down coming up already here right now. The thing is, guys, like I said, I don't like being what happened last week type of guy. But the fact is, I don't trust Sam Darnold. He's not that good. You know what I mean? Like, he can throw the football well. Like, you know what I mean? If you give him time, he can throw a tight spiral and all that. Like, he's thrown a lot of pretty-looking football so far this year. But at the same point in time, he's never, under pressure in a real situation, I can't trust this guy. And as a whole, the Minnesota Vikings are, like, people have that big term chargering now. Oh, the Chargers chargered it up and lost in the playoffs again. You won't find many franchises that choke in big games as much as the Minnesota Vikings do.
It's true.
They're big, fat chokers. I would say the Falcons, Matthias' Falcons. The Falcons don't get to the playoffs enough to be called that.
Yeah.
Being a Sports Grid listener doesn't make life perfect.
But it'll do till perfect comes along.
We're the home of the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974 Super Bowl VIII at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Carver and Lisi.
Hey, you and Matthias have it all figured out. You're all giggles. Hey, Matthias, it's me and you. Lisi's not here every week. It's me and you, Matthias. Whatever you say.
You want to bet
Penn State? We'll bet Penn State. Yeah. All giggles.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network. Ask any player and they'll tell you any advantage is important.
That's where we come in.
Sports Grid delivers gaming strategies and analysis 7 days a week.
The winning edge.
It's your advantage to more winning
more often.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Well, there's a couple of things in this world that you can count on. The Minnesota Vikings choking in a big game. The Toronto Blue Jays being named as a finalist for a big-time free agent and not getting them. And a touchdown being scored on this show during a commercial break. You can't make it up. Like, it's all the time. I'm telling you, like, I think I've been on the air for like 3 touchdowns in 3 weeks. It's all the time. Guys, the other day we were on live during the Notre Dame-Penn State game, and we missed the field goal. The game, big drama on the field goal. We went to a break just as they were lining up for it, and we came back. All right, he made the field goal. So, we didn't get the live celebration of, yeah, exactly, Kobe Ken. Exactly. Me and the unders. Every time I bet the unders, boom. I swear. You guys even notice I lose every time. There's 7 there right now, so our 9.5 in the first quarter is in peril. And nice job by Minnesota. If you guys remember the last game last week against Detroit, they were sort of hanging around a bit and whatever. There was, it was a slow death. But there was a big play once when Detroit, same thing. It was like 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. And Detroit went up to the line, and Goff baited them, and they jumped offside. And lo and behold, first freaking drive of the game tonight.
Yep.
I don't think McVay was going to go for it. McVay is not. Like, McVay's all over the place. Like, I think he probably was going to take the 3, actually, there. It was a 4th and a long 1, guys, at like the 11-yard line or whatever. And Stafford goes up to the line, starts doing a couple of little head count games and stuff like that, and the Vikings bit right away. Jumped offside. Guys, it's the first freaking drive. Like, you have one job. You have one job. You're a D-lineman. It's like, guys, you got to do, and you know what? That's the type of thing that's got to be brought up before. Like, listen, Stafford's been in the league for 112 years, guys. He's going to know how to, like, his cadences. He knows how to screw things up and mess with your head. So don't fall for it. Like, you know what I mean? And I'd bring it up. We just fell for it with Jared last week, and he's good at it, and Stafford's even better at this. Right? I mean, Cam, Stafford got up to the line and just started with the fake 17 blue, hut, fake, hut. And he got them right away.
It's unbelievable.
That can't happen on the first drive of the game, bro. Like, you got to be mentally disciplined enough not to jump offside, man.
I don't know what everyone's talking, like, because in the year, it's like, oh, the Vikings, they're this team, but they're so great, and they've done everything. That game against Detroit, like, what happened to the regular season? So you're telling me, Detroit beat you, and they play that? No, because the funny thing is, though, NFL is a week-to-week league, but we'll see what happens tonight. If they get beat down in this game and it's embarrassing, that loss to Detroit is lingering. They had every defensive player out. It doesn't matter in the game. Darnold played his worst game of the year, and it's a horrible way to start if you're Minnesota, but they got to be tough and come back and grind in this game. It's not over. It's 7-0, but I'll tell you, after last week, I have a lot of questions with this team right now.
If this turns into a track meet, I'm going to snap.
It might.
But on the plus side, we did just hit Kieran Williams. Well, I told you guys, it really is amazing. Like, I don't know why or how this guy scores the first damn touchdown of the game all the time for them. Like, plus 450 was actually value. Like, he's normally plus 250. I've seen him as low as plus 200 a couple of times this year. Like, literally. And it's like, that's just crazy. And then lo and behold, he scored the first touchdown of the game.
His anytime touchdown is a great deal at minus 138. I could make minus 200, and he always gets touchdowns for the Rams. The first touchdown, you're right. Like, it was a little bit increased, so I would actually find value in both markets there.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a great back. He's just one of these dudes that scores touchdowns.
Yes.
Like, I don't think of him like, oh, you got to fear him or he's going to run for 130 yards or anything. But this son of a bitch, man, like, when they get around the end zone, this guy just has a knack. One of those deals. Like, he falls forward, he spins, he moves. Like, they're Mixon's like that. You get Mixon around the goal line. I don't know if it's like money with Mixon or like whatever. Like, some dudes just won't be denied. Other guys get stuffed. And speaking of getting stuffed, Sam Darnold just got murdered.
Yeah, this guy, I'll tell you, maybe
and
he's
they
dead.
lost like 17 yards on the play.
Wow, this J.J. McCarthy thing, Darnold's going to come back and do something. This guy's, I'll tell you, if this continues, this guy's really hurt his stock for next year. He went from, what a great addition. Look at Sam Darnold. Some teams are going to be happy to get him. Now it's like, okay.
My wild prediction of the night last night, Cam, was that Sam Darnold sucks so hard and Daniel Jones comes in and is the hero that leads the Vikings to victory.
I'm buying into your narrative. I honestly, I don't.
I said watch Darnold suck. Daniel Jones going to come in and somehow end up in a conference championship game or something.
I know you guys are going to think me and Gabe are crazy. He played behind the Giants, who had the worst line and still can run. Sam Darnold, the one thing he can't do is move. Daniel Jones can at least escape pressure and do something.
I do believe that Daniel Jones is better than Sam Darnold.
I agree with you.
I do believe that.
Way better.
Yeah, but he's only been there for a couple of weeks, so it's a drastic measure. But he is second string tonight.
Giving you sports gaming strategies so powerful you can practically reserve a family vacation on it.
Feels good to be a winner, doesn't it?
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, It's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X, and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. How to tell if you have the winning edge. Take a coin and flip it. While it's in the air, call it. Whatever comes up, so long as you're listening to us. You have it. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
This is Sports Grid Game Day. I'm Gabriel Morency. George Kurt's going to step up and into the 9 o'clock hour. The Dallas Cowboys are looking for a head coach as Mike McCarthy is out. And I don't know how it ended or which way it ended. I think Mike McCarthy might have just left. I mean, I know they said they agreed to part ways, but Mike McCarthy could get a job again. And with all the criticism of Mike McCarthy, the Dallas Cowboys were actually a very good ATS team under his watch the last couple of years. This year, people, I see it now, every coach, people want every coach of every team that lost fired after the game. Oh, you got to fire Mike Tomlin. You got to fire Bowles. You got to fire, everybody's going to get fired, right? Oh, Harbaugh should go back to college. You know what I mean? You're going to fire someone, you better have someone to hire after. I'll tell you that. Speaking of which, Vrabel got the Patriots job. And there's talk that Dion wants the Raiders job. The Vikings are in big trouble. So is my 9.5 in the in the first quarter here. So the Rams went down the field on the first drive and scored easily, tic-tac-toe, boom, in. Then the Vikings got the ball back and got sacked and lost 1,000,000 yards. Darnold got lit up. And then they had to punt the ball. And here's Matt Stafford again with a big chunk play over the middle of the field. Have just picked up another fit. Stafford is 7 for 7 for 87 yards already.
Good Stafford.
Dear God, the Vikings defense is just getting lit up, Cam. We can bitch about, we can pick on Sam Darnold all we want. Look at this. They can't tackle. They just dumped off the little play here. Should have been tackled, turned into an 11-yard gain. The Vikings are once again unprepared to play in a big football game. They're just, it's always been this way. It's always been this way in my life. When I was a kid in the 70s, they were making the Super Bowl with Fran Tarkenton, and Bud Grant was the coach. And they would always lose. But they were really good teams, in those days. You had the Miami Dolphins and the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the Dallas Cowboys. Only 3 teams really won in the 70s. And then, with the Raiders, the Raiders won a couple of times mixed in there. 4 teams. So, but then, I remember as a kid, in the Lawrence Taylor days, the Vikings were really good. They played in the NFC Conference Championship game at the Meadowlands. They lost 41-0.
Yeah, Giants killed them.
They've played, there's been numerous times they've gone to San Francisco over the years where the Vikings are really good and they get lit up. They've never, the Vikings, rarely you can say, yeah, they lost, man, but, they missed the field goal. They did this. I know they blew an extra point against Seattle once or whatever, the field goal, a chip shot against Seattle, but that wasn't a massive game. the Vikings are just one of these organizations. And Minnesota sports as a whole, they're another city that's just has been absolutely just tortured with failure over the years. The last team from Minnesota to win anything was the Minnesota Twins when they beat the Atlanta Braves in, I don't know what year it was. I think that was 91. Off the top of my head. So it was 90 or 91. I think.
What about the Minnesota Lynx?
Yeah, the Minnesota
females?
Lynx.
Yeah.
That doesn't satisfy Viking Twin or T-Wolf fan.
It's good, but you're right. It's
like New York.
I'm
it's sort
so
of like
hungry.
New York, like the New York Liberty one. It's like, okay. I'm not disrespecting it.
But it's true, though.
The Liberty one, all right. But it's not the Yankees or Knicks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're right, though. The Lynx one. And good call, because I was thinking, did Minnesota ever win the MLS? I was like, no, they didn't.
The best is because there's only a few teams in the league. That's the best. It's good, but it doesn't satisfy. It's like, that's exactly it. It does. It's good. It's an appetizer, but it's not a full meal.
Well, yeah, it's like the CFL team winning or like the MLS team winning in Toronto. It's like, it was the Argos win and a couple of thousand people show up. People get drunk and they're happy about it at the parade. And it's, the Raptors won and there was like 5 million people. Like the Leafs won. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of different.
Yep. Agreed.
Right. So the Williams just fumbled, but of course the Vikings luck, the Rams recovered it.
Of course.
It's like I said, if you're a Viking fan, this will not end well. Like, I think my teaser's fine, Cam. I swear early, I think this game's going to be a route, bro. I think this might end up it's going to be a route.
I'm happy I got my Higbee prop over 2.5 catches and yards because the way the Vikings are looking right now, I'm a dead man. Yeah, no, this guy's bad. I wish I just bet on Higbee and sat back and enjoyed the rest of the show. Like the guy's a machine tonight.
It's about to be 14-0 in this football game. Like the Vikings have no answers on defense. The Los Angeles Rams. And the listen, the in-game total isn't too bad right now. It's 50.5, although we had a personal foul on the Rams. Limmer. Offensive lineman, Limmer. Got to settle down, Limmer. What did Limmer do here?
Limmer. Great name.
Let's see.
Limmer.
Yeah, that's a worthy penalty.
Yeah.
Limmer decided to come in and blindside smoke somebody. And pays the price for it. Sets the Rams back a little bit, but even a field goal does end my first quarter here. But, what's going on there? That's an incomplete pass. So we're going to have, what is this? We got a 4th and long coming up? No, we got a third. This is 3rd and 16 now. I like to see them go backwards and, like, somehow not kick a field goal here, Cam. But I don't know. The way that it's looking, it's 3rd and 16 right now. They're going to dump it off. They're going to pick up a couple of more yards, and it's going to be 10-0 in a second. There goes my 9.5. But I did hit Williams' first touchdown at least.
I got to tell you, if they go up 10-9, I don't know. I got to see what my number is for Minnesota. I need over a touchdown, but it's not going to happen. So
what you're going to say? You're going to jump in on them in game, Minnesota?
Yeah, of course I am. This game is far from over. If they only go up 10-0. Then I'll feel good about it. The problem is they're not going to give me a number that's going to satisfy me. I need 7.5, and right now I'll only get 5.5 or 6.5. It's a big number.
It just moved to 6.5. So yeah, here comes the field goal unit, and it's going to be a chip shot. It won't be a long field goal. That's another thing too. You don't get the long field goals. Teams will just sort of dump the ball off to play for the field goal in the playoffs more. So now you got a 34-yard field goal attempt coming up, and I need him to miss somehow, but I don't think it's going to happen.
5 catches for 58 yards? Alt line. What the hell's going on here? This guy, man.
And it is officially 10-0.
Wow.
10-0 for the Los Angeles Rams.
Cardi's a pretty good kicker. Actually, I got to be honest with you. Josh Cardi, like you watch Rams games, like the guy's pretty efficient.
34
I'm just saying, look at his numbers for the year, though. He guy's like almost a 90% kicker. Like he's good. Like he's adequate. He's fine.
He's one of these dudes. He's been around forever, but he can't. He's not great on long kicks. You know what I mean? But he's pretty reliable from like 50 in. So there's a 34-yard field goal. We got a 10-0 football game, and the pressure's already starting to build on the Vikings a little bit. As Cam stated, if you want to jump in on the Vikings, it's not really that attractive. They're not really giving you a lot of reason to. lot of confidence from this computer and the simulator. The Vikings are getting 5.5 right now. The Rams are minus 5.5. The way this game is going, Cam, I don't want to overreact early, but the Vikings, this is just a continuation from last week, bro, from the Lions. Like literally and figuratively. It's just you've rolled right into it. It's like, oh, forget about last week. It's a new game. We're in the playoffs now. It's like, yeah, whatever, dude. We're down 10-0. We played 10 minutes, and we're down 10-0. Like, this team is just they're falling off a cliff right now, the Vikings. This drive is critical for them.
Oh, I agree with you. Listen, it's 10-0, 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Is it panic time? No. But if they punt again and the Rams put up any type of points, then we could start to say it's getting a little bit hot under the collar, because that's the thing. The Vikings have the players to come back, but it's not like they've stopped the Rams. That's the whole problem. The Vikings defense has been a real problem. Detroit exposed them. The Rams are exposing them early. I don't know what happened to this team, but that game against Detroit really threw them off. They're different.
So in-game total, 50.5 right now. Rams laying 5.5. Big-time drive coming up here. You could argue, like I said, I think it would be value of the Rams at minus 5.5.
You're listening to your source of sports gaming strategies and information.
We call it the winning edge.
It helps make the odds even.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974 Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Face it, it's a jungle out there.
And you're wearing baloney underwear.
Think of Sports Grid as one of those last great outposts where you can have fun doing something you love. Expert information on gaming, odds, and tons more. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Level 1 continues. This is Sports Rage. Game day. I am Morency. Sirius XM Channel 159 Sports Grid on demand on YouTube. The Vikings just picked up their first down of the game. They need this. If anything, even if they don't score, they just needed a first down at least, not to give the ball right back. Hell of a catch from Addison on the sidelines. So they pick up the first down on 3rd and 1. Nothing comes easy, though. Like Darnold had him open, and Darnold threw it too high. So, like, what just should have been a bang-bang play turned into Addison having to make a wicked catch. We saw that last week with Darnold. You know, he's just, I don't know, high balls, like inaccurate. Because he has been very accurate during the regular season this year. But the Vikings are moving the ball. They're in the Rams territory right now. And so many times this weekend, I bet the over and ended up losing. And here I go with the under. And you got a kind of a flow to this football game right now, 10-0. Although in-game total really hasn't moved all that much. It's 50.5, Cam, and considering it closed at 47.5, 48, and we're at 10 points right now, there's a couple of things. The computer doesn't want to bump the total, and the Vikings are only plus 4.5 right now. There's another big play. So Darnold's starting to put it together here a little bit. There's Jefferson with his first catch of the game. Big catch.
Yeah. I wanted 7.5. Obviously, they're not going to give it to me live total. What do we got? 4.5 now. A lot of football left,
3.5.
but yeah, 3.5 now. Wow. Yeah. I just went from 4.5 to 3.5 on my book. So yeah, I think this drive is critical. Even if they get 3, they're back in. It's good. It's good for your total too. And these Viking receivers are starting to be wide open right now, and maybe Darnold's getting a little bit of confidence. But I think you bring up a really good point. The thing that I've noticed too is in the pocket, he's waiting a little bit longer, and his accuracy is a little bit off. He floats a few balls. That's always been Darnold's. That's his Achilles heel. He sails balls. But right now, this drive, so far, so good for him.
And Darnold just got sacked for the second time. In fact, we played a Jared Verse. I posted this Jared Verse sack plus 140, but that was a Turner sack right there. So, yeah, down goes Darnold. That sets back their drive here a little bit. And it's another thing, too. We saw this last week against the Minnesota Vikings. With the Vikings against the Lions. The Vikings got inside the Lions 20 like 4 times and came away with 3 points. Like they could not score. Remember, like O'Connell went for it a bunch of times, got stuffed. Once he kicked the field goal, he just sort of tapped out and kicked the field goal. But it was brutal for them when they got inside the 20. They had a problem, and those tight spaces, it becomes harder for Darnold. All right, they're in a 3rd and 10 right now. They are in field goal range. They're on the 24-yard line, so this is a big play coming up for the Minnesota Vikings. At least they've stopped the bleeding here a little bit. Will they get the play out before the end of the quarter? No. I never understand that. Like, why wait? Like, Cam, they were at the line. Darnold could have easily snapped the ball here. Like, why? Like, you got a little momentum. Like, why not just keep it going?
Too. I agree with you. Yeah, no, that's an excellent point by you. Too
and
bad.
You're losing, too. Like, you know what I mean? Why waste time? You're actually losing the game 10-0. Like, I would have snapped the ball before there. You had time to do it.
I agree. If you're winning, it's a whole different story. You don't mind bleeding clock, but it sucks that you can't buy first quarter points too, Morency, because I know you would have made it a smooth 10 and got a push instead of 9.5. Stupid.
No, you can. You can, actually.
You really? Oh, I didn't know that for first quarter. I didn't know you could buy first quarter stuff. I never have.
Yeah, I looked at it. Yeah. I looked at it. It was minus 210.
Oh, God.
10 points was...
For 1 point? 10?
Yeah, because it's so key. They know, right?
Yeah,
it basically came down to whether I lost by half a point. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, these guys are good.
It's a cold world. Yeah. They know what they're doing with the quarter props.
Yes,
Trust me, it crossed my mind. I looked. I was like, huh.
They're sharp.
I get that even 10, and I was like, what's the? I look. I'm like, oh boy, minus 220. 210. I'm like,
hey, they really they do that. No, Gabe, I remember we did that too when we started like playing more first quarters in basketball, and I looked at the money lines.
Oh yeah,
we figured that out. And I'm like,
crazy.
what are these guys doing? They're really taking us to the cleaners here. They make it
because they know.
unbettable.
They really do squeeze you out. Like in the NBA playoffs, like a point spread could be 5.5 in a game. They'll make the team like 4.5 in the first quarter. Or what they'll do, they squeeze you on the money line. Those are the ones though you can tell they don't want you to play it. Right? They're like, all right, you know what I mean? If you want to play this, go ahead, but we're gonna make you pay for it. And whatever. I figured, we can squeeze this out. It is what it is. Hopefully I don't get burnt on the first half as well. I got under 23.5 here, but I think this could turn into a field goal fest a little bit now.
It might. I'll just tell you, Minnesota, they need points. And you talk about their kicker too. Will Reichard's a little bit of a question mark with the injury and the leg problem and stuff, so we'll see what happens. But big third down for Minnesota. And yeah, I'm looking at the live line. You said it. It's very close to the original. Minnesota's, they're getting 3.5 down 10 and total 50.5. So it's not like there's any parameters that you can jump on right now. It's kind of middling right now. It's there.
And also, Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the National Football League. It's scripting plays to start. Like the Rams are really good at it. We saw that yesterday with the Denver Broncos. I tweeted about it. That if you'll notice, like the Broncos had success on the first drive because Sean Payton's a good coach. And Sean Payton, they drew up. He watched the Bills. He drew up a scheme, and the Bills fell right into it, right? He set up a couple of little runs, boom, boom, play action, bomb, touchdown. They scored like 5 plays into the game yesterday, Denver. Once his script was done, then it's just sort of player on player. And then the game just sort of fell apart for them. So similar situation here. McVay's script, like, basically worked to a T. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to run this, we're going to run that, bing, bing, boom, and then scored a touchdown. But I think as the game goes on, the script will sort of ease up a little bit. They nearly just got Darnold for a big sack. It would have taken him out of field goal range, but Darnold did a nice job of getting rid of it to Jefferson. So they got here's another chip shot field goal coming up here. 34-yard attempt for the Vikings. Although, let's see if he can kick it down the middle. I say he can't.
Boy, Reichard? Yeah,
look at that. Look at that. Like, if that was longer, it would have been a problem.
Like, remember last night was Zane Gonzalez too?
They start to go. Like, they start to drift.
You know what Reichard is? He's like a PGA Tour guy. He's got like a smooth fade. Like, nothing is like nutted down the fairway. Like, he plays those shots, and it's very dangerous sometimes because if you lose it one way, you can get a two-way miss. You're right. Like, see that angle? That's a longer kick. That thing hits the bar.
Anything past like 45, I'd be concerned about with this guy on the Vikings, really. Like 47, 48 range. That's why I didn't play the 50.5. All right, so it's 10-3. In-game total is 50.5. And the Rams are now 4.5-point favorites early in the second quarter of play. Let's roll.
It's smarter to be on Sports Grid, but don't take our word for it. Ask somebody smart.
Wait, that's not what I meant.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
There's something you should know and always remember.
Sports Grid does not increase luck.
We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck,
go find a horseshoe.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Well, they say where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's more smoke than Snoop Dogg's tour bus right now going on with the Dallas Cowboys and their vacant coaching position. This is, listen, it's only been hours, but already it's begun right now. And Jordan Schultz, Fox Sports NFL Insider, co-host of the Draymond Green podcast. I know Jordan, very reliable reporter. And he is reporting right now, just from seconds ago, that Jerry Jones has spoken already with Deion Sanders about the Cowboys coaching vacancy tonight. He's already on the phone with Deion Sanders right now. It doesn't mean that Deion is going to take the job. Doesn't mean Deion's been offered the job yet. But there's a big belief out there right now that Deion Sanders is ready to jump to the National Football League. he's already put it out there that he'd coach the Raiders and the Cowboys. So, I think Jerry went real oh, God. This is a turning point in the football game.
Oh!
Touchdown Vikings.
Oh,
Rams fumble the ball, and it's returned.
Yeah!
Cashman scores the touchdown.
Cashman.
Although Matt Stafford believes that it is not a touchdown, Cam.
Settle down. I don't want to get too excited. Yeah, but anyway, maybe the algorithm knew something. No touchdown, he says, eh?
That's a pass.
Yeah,
Stafford's right. That's a pass. You know what, Cam? You know what that is? That's illegal grounding.
That's crap. That's what that is.
I know it's crap, but that's the rule. The rule is if your hand is moving forward.
Oh, I know what the rule is.
They're calling it a touchdown.
He says, well, they should. The guy's on his way down, and he shovels
this
the ball out.
This is going to be challenged and reviewed. It doesn't matter, though. He's not down, and he flicks the ball loose. And he didn't fumble it. He deliberately threw the ball. I don't see how this isn't an incomplete pass. And now they've overturned it, and they made it an incomplete pass.
It is an incomplete pass, but it should be a loss of down and intentional grounding. If not, every
that I agree with. It should be intentional grounding.
That's actually a really savvy play by Stafford, man, because he was 1 inch away from going. I don't even know how he got rid of the ball without but the ball's.
And it also seemed kind of illegal what the Viking defender was doing, elbowing him in the back of the head down.
I'll agree with that too. But I also watched. We're me and you are both right in a lot.
I agree. It's a stupid rule. He clearly wasn't throwing the ball. He clearly just got rid of the ball.
If you look at it again under slow-mo, when he's throwing it, the ball's rolling off his fingers like fumbling. He didn't have control when it came out.
He knew what he was doing. That was a deliberate. He flicked the ball. He threw the ball.
I know that. I'm just saying it didn't come out clean.
And you know why they got away with it, actually, too, on top of it, is because Nakua happens to be in the area. Dude, I was raging about this last week because Goff got away with the same thing against the Vikings, actually. They got to be sick of this. Goff got away with the same thing last week in which he was in his own end zone. It should have been a safety. Mm-hmm. Goff was about to get sacked. He got hit, and he literally just flicked the ball. He literally just flicked the ball away, and he wasn't trying to pass it to anybody. It was literally just getting rid of it. And Montgomery was in the area, right? But he didn't even see Montgomery. He was just like a random. So the referees could be stricter on it, but the rules are the rules. This is the little stupid thing that they did in the NFL, where if the arm is going forward, then it's not a fumble.
To your earlier point too about the Lions play, I remember watching that play again, and the ball hit at the legs of Zeitler, the Lions offensive line. Montgomery was in the area, but
hit the old lineman in his arm.
Yes, yeah. I'm with you, Gabe. I had the Lions. I go, that's BS.
It should have been illegal touching. That's what it should have been. But I don't know why they said, but he was trying to throw it to Montgomery, and even then I wondered. But who cares who he was trying to throw it to? You can't hit the lineman first, Cam.
I agree.
You know what I mean? You can't throw a ball deliberately and then hit the line. Like if a quarterback is running around, he can't throw it to an offensive lineman, guys. Right? If he's in trouble, he's not an eligible receiver. So Goff just flicked it and it hit the guy's arm. Yes. I was like, that's a safety, but they weaseled their way out of it. And same thing, O'Connell's frustrated here, and I understand his frustration, but that was a slick play from Stafford.
It was.
No touchdown. In-game total remains 50.5. That really helped me, so I agree with the call. Good job by the NFL.
Horrible job by the NFL, but whatever.
They got that right.
Sure did.
So some of you aren't listening to Sports Grid the recommended 12 hours a day due to family commitments.
Well, we know what your priorities are.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Carver and Lisi.
All right, hotshot. You want to talk smack with your partner? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Look up and look at me. You saying that I'm not into it? I laid this 7.5 with Illinois. Now what are you going to say? At least my money's where my mouth is. You want to talk all this garbage? Penn State sucks in hoops. I look at numbers, old school, gut. A little pinch between your cheek and gum.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Grady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Studies show that in order for you to experience consistent winning,
You need a plan.
a strategy, something you can trust to give you the edge 24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
we make it simple for you. You're listening to the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Scumbags!
Rage! Sports Rage with Gabe Morency. Rage all you want.
Well, you know what? The Rams were up 10-0 in this game, and it looked like it could get out of hand. The Vikings are hanging around. They only scored a field goal on the last drive, and that was a problem for them last week against Detroit. But they got a nice run on first down here from Aaron Jones up the middle. So they are moving the ball. And the Rams were fortunate. Yes and no. It was the right call. Like, the league didn't get it wrong. The referees didn't get it wrong, per se. It wasn't a fumble. But at the very least, I don't understand how that wasn't intentional grounding. George Kurt steps up and in. George, I don't know if you remember the play last week. Jared Goff was in the end zone, and he just sort of flicked it away. He was about to get sacked, and he flicked it away. It hit a lineman. And for the love of God, I didn't understand how it was not intentional grounding and a safety. And they said, well, Montgomery, I think, you and I spoke about it. Montgomery was in the area. It's like, I don't care if he was in the area. Number one, he wasn't even looking at him. He wasn't trying to throw it to Montgomery. Number two, it was illegal touching. It hit the lineman first. And it should have been an automatic safety. Now, in this instance, there wasn't really anything great about it, George, besides the fact that if you're the ref, okay, you know what? He got rid of the ball. He flicked it forward, but I'm calling a flag here that you weren't trying to throw it to Kieran Williams, who happened to be sort of in the area, George. Like, I don't think it was a touchdown, but that should have been intentional grounding at the very least.
I agree wholeheartedly. I 1,000% agree with you here. I hate the intentional grounding rule as a whole. All right, and this is a big problem of it. Now, I refereed hockey for about 25 years in men's leagues, and I got to tell you, as a ref, I like black and white. I don't want anything to be up to my judgment. But in this case, with the NFL referees, I think we have to leave it to their judgment now. Yes, he was in the area, but was he really trying to throw the football to him? I think we need to leave that to the refs now and let them make
up. He clearly was not either.
He was just doing this. He get rid of the ball. Come on.
That's not a pass. It was a pass.
It's just bull.
Yeah. You can say, listen, yeah, Matt. I would tell him as the ref, yeah, Matt, nice play. Hey, great play getting rid of the ball, but I got to call you for intentional grounding there. And Stafford wouldn't even complain. He probably would have smiled at the ref. Said,
That's
yeah,
being
thanks.
stupid.
You know what I mean?
They should have given him a touchdown. I mean, it was a dumb play by Stafford. I mean, he has no idea if they're going to A rule forward pass or A rule. It's just, like I said, I hate the rule, and I think it needs to be fixed.
There was a college game this year, guys. In one of the bowl games, it was like I was raging about. Normally, I don't really get rage about this. So they just hit the kicker, but that's not roughing the kicker. Let's see what they're calling. They did call it. They call a 15-yarder, Georgia, on that.
They're calling it roughing, not running. Oh, he hit his plant leg. You hit his plant leg, you're going to get
ref
banged.
This is whack. That's not. He got pushed into him.
All right, I'd like to see that replay again. I didn't see the push.
He got pushed into him. That's insane. That's insane.
Well, it's sort of like the rule when they call roughing on the quarterback because they hit him below the knee, and a lot of times
last night he got pushed into him last night. He got pushed into him last night into Daniels.
He did. I agree.
He got pushed in.
I'd like to see this play here.
That was garbage. That's garbage.
It's a makeup call. Maybe it's a makeup call for
that's a 5-yarder, bro. That's not a. He didn't intentionally try to do it. That's the whole thing. He went in backwards. His head hit him backwards. He got pushed in. And he
I don't care about intentional. I don't care about intentional or not. If you hit him the plant leg, you hit him.
Okay, so look at the replay here, George. Look at number 54. Sling him into him. Look at number 54.
You're right. That should not be.
He momentum's him into him.
He flung him into him. Nothing he could have done. That's not.
I said the same thing, George. In hockey, exactly. I said the same thing in hockey, and I'm sure you agree. Dude, they call roughing the goalie all the time. Now, if you're a defenseman, just push the forward into the goalie. They don't call the defenseman for it ever. They always just call interference. Look, if you think you're going to get scored on and it's all desperate, you're better off, George, if you're a defenseman and a desperation ploy, just pushing someone into the goalie.
I don't want to get off football here, but let me ask you a question. We saw this, about 2 weeks, 10 days ago, where, what was it, the Colorado goalie, where he got hit, Wedgwood? Remember the defender pushed him into it, and the goalie went down. Yeah. They still let the play continue for about 5 seconds, and they let the goal score on pretty much an empty net because the goalie was just hunched over in pain. Did you think that was the right call?
Yeah, the ref clearly feels as if though he wasn't going to generously award it. They gratuitously.
It was the right call.
Yeah, they do though.
They the whistle dead for an injury.
All right, so Darnold got sacked. I played. So what are you on here, George? What do you got here in this game? What did you play tonight?
Oh, you know what I played. I may have said last night I should know better, but I still don't know better.
Oh, you took the over? You took the over?
I took the over. So I'm getting so
How do you feel about it right now? How do you feel about it?
Well, I was thrilled when I thought I was going to get the defensive touchdown. They're like 20 points already. We're only going to just start the second quarter. This is fantastic. Then they took it away from me. Now I feel lousy about it. And I still don't feel great about the Minnesota offense, even though, is that a pick? Oh, he threw a pick. Oh, I feel a little bit better about it now. Oh, that's an awful throw. He just threw a pick. Minnesota has the ball about
pick. It is an interception.
The Rams have the ball about midfield. So I'm feeling better about it. Wow. I did not have Higbee having a big game, I'll tell you that. On Kyron Williams to score, so that was good. I'm on Naku to score. Jefferson, I have his numbers all over the place. I just had to figure that Sandon was going to be make good to Jefferson after what happened last week. So I'm on all the. Don't have any Aaron Jones, even though I do. I figured they would try and give him as much as possible. I think Jones is too banged up here, and I'm on the Rams to win the game.
We're on. So I actually decided, George, to go with the under. I said, you know what? After all this, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. And I got screwed, Kurtz. I played under 9.5 in the first quarter. They scored 10. I got under 23.5 in the first half. I think I got a shot at this one. It has slowed down. So now, they get the ball, like you said, basically at the 43 or whatever it is here. It is slowing down a bit. For the record, George, the in-game total right now is 47.5. It's right where it started.
Which is the Flyers just tied. That game's going over. That's about right. Right, we're at 13 points. You figure they're going to... Actually, that might be a little high because they're assuming they're going to get 2 more scores than in this half. And one would have to be a touchdown to be on pace for that.
The thing is, the Rams' offense really isn't explosive, right? So they could slow down. Like they scored that, I brought it up. They scored on the scripted drive, bro. right? And now, now you're seeing the game is sort of settling in here, and the offense isn't clicking quite as much. We'll see what happens on this drive, but I mean, you take away that early touchdown, and they only have 3 points put up on the board. So George Kurtz with us on the other side. We'll get his thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys coaching situation. NHL hockey, Panthers and Flyers are tied at 3 right now. High-scoring game, 13 minutes left in the hockey game. In-game total is now 7.5, and they're at 6. And the Flames are winning 5-2, another high-scoring game. In-game total is 9.5. The Flames are up 5-2 on the road against the Chicago Blackhawks right now. NBA basketball, T-Wolves, another Minnesota team in action. 107-91 over the terrible Washington Wizards. The Pistons are up 78-74 on the Knicks right now. The Knicks are minus 3.5 in-game midway through the third quarter of play. The Grizzlies up 60-57. And our boy Matthias opened up. He asked me a question during a break. He goes, hey, did you bet that Memphis game? You figure he'd be talking about the NBA game tonight, but he was talking about the bowl game from a couple of weeks ago that he's still mad about a bad call. The Warriors and Raptors. The Warriors are up 69-66 on the Raptors with 4 minutes left in the third quarter of play. All right, so the Rams have the football right now. What's this? There's a flag on the play. They're on the Minnesota 44-yard line. In-game total is 46.5. Yeah, what's the flag? Let's see. It's coming back.
Holding.
This ref ain't playing around, Kurtz, tonight, huh?
Must be a part of the game. Shocking.
Buy the book. Although Vinovich let him play too much.
If anybody asks you how you win so often, you can tell them you're a loyal Sports Grid listener.
Or just say you have an unfair advantage.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we've shared these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
Carver and Lisi.
Giggles Carver.
I mean,
Giggles
Joe,
Carver.
here
it is.
Come on,
Oh,
man. I
Giggles.
mean, what? You're out with the syndicate crew.
I got it right there.
Cashing this ticket, win. I'm supposed to sit here and just do nothing?
Did you see the parlay I hit over the weekend?
No, you didn't let anyone else eat on that ticket. Kept it hidden to yourself.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Did you ever wonder why we're called Sports Grid? It's because we help create so many winners we have to use a grid system to keep track of them all. Join them. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Vikings just came as close to blocking a punt as you can get without somehow even tipping it or deflecting it. At least, you know what I mean? At least getting a little bit, getting your hand on it. The number 50, he blew right through it, man. It was so close to being blocked. And instead, now they're pinned deep, but they did get the stop. And the in-game total has fallen to 43.5 right now. I got under 23.5 in the first half. We already lost the under 9.5 in the first quarter, and I put the same amount on both. So I'm looking at a split there potentially. I did hit Kieran Williams' first touchdown score of the game at plus 450. So that was good. Updated Super Bowl odds right now. Detroit Lions are plus 300 to win the Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs are plus 350 to win the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles are plus 450. The Baltimore Ravens are plus 450. And the Buffalo Bills, not getting a lot of love from the sports books, George. The Bills are 5-1. So the Bills are actually the fifth choice to win the Super Bowl.
I think the problem with the Bills is that they've got the hardest road, right? Because you got to beat Baltimore, and theoretically you got to beat Kansas City, and then you got to beat Detroit or Philadelphia. So it is a rough road, right? You want to get that number one seed in the AFC if you could here. Baltimore would have the same road, by the way, right? They got to beat Buffalo, got to beat Kansas City, got to beat Philadelphia and Detroit. So they have it's just a really rough road for Baltimore and or Buffalo to get there. So I kind of understand it.
It seems strange, though, that Baltimore are plus 450. They have the same path. And Buffalo are plus 500, but Buffalo are favored, and they're playing at home against each other. Well, it's kind of just strange.
That doesn't make sense.
Still plus 500. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right. If Baltimore was favored over Buffalo, you're right. That would make more sense.
Yeah, like you figure Buffalo should be plus
that doesn't
450.
make sense.
And Baltimore's the 500. Like if Buffalo are playing at home and they're the favorite in the football game.
I think whichever team wins Sunday night goes to the Super Bowl, by the way. Buffalo or Baltimore, whoever wins, I think they're beating Kansas City. So
I agree.
That's your championship game.
But let's see. Hopefully it can play out. But it's what a game is going to be Sunday night. One for the ages.
Fantastic.
Lamar versus Josh. So the Dallas Cowboys. McCarthy is out. How do you feel about that?
I mean, a couple of things. One, this is pretty scummy how it came about here. If you were to let McCarthy go, which I don't think McCarthy is the guy. I think you had to move on here. This should have happened a week ago. The fact that you dragged this on a week, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in some ways. He's still going to get his interview in Chicago and whatever, but weird. You sort of insulted him, but you only offered him a 2-year contract because you didn't want him back. You didn't want him back long term. Did you really think he was going to take that? All right, so once you get past that, by the way, Gabe, does it matter? You and I have discussed this endlessly. Does it matter? Unless Jerry is willing to hire a real head coach, not somebody who's a yes man, and he hasn't done that since what? Parcells? So you're talking 20 years, unless he's willing to do that. And, relinquish GM control. This is all just fodder. I don't care. Ben Johnson's not going to the Cowboys. He'll have other opportunities. He doesn't want to deal with JJ. I doubt Aaron Glenn is going to the Cowboys. Same thing. Mike Vrabel was never going to Dallas. He doesn't deal with JJ.
I think Glenn would. And I don't know if you want him, but I think Glenn would if offered the job. Of course, the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Ben Johnson wouldn't. I don't think he would either.
No.
He's already turned down a lot of interviews and spots and quarterback this and that. And it's pretty clear he wants like a younger sort of franchise quarterback to work with. Dak's not that.
The person who I think is going is Kellen Moore. I would be almost surprised if it's not Kellen Moore to be the next Dallas. Jones liked them. Remember, they only got rid of him because Mike McCarthy. Remember that idiotic thing he said last year? Well, we want to run the ball more. Kellen just wants to score points.
Yeah, he said all Kellen cares about scoring points. Yeah.
Right, what? Well, I mean, so I think Jones wants more. He wants his young guru. Yeah, but I said
he
I'm
does
not so
like
sure
Kellen Moore. I don't think that's the right hire personally. I don't think Moore has the juice in the room to get the team going.
Would agree.
And which leads us into the report that it's already happened. That Jerry Jones has reached out to Deion Sanders. Jordan Schultz is reporting that they've already spoken. Other people are picking it up now. How would you feel about, because, as you stated, Jerry Jones, he ain't going anywhere. And he even said, I'm going to be here till I die, right? He is the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. So he's not going anywhere. So you're either going to get a guy that's not that good or an older dude like a McCarthy that, you know what I mean? Like Glenn's not going to get a million chances. So if someone offers him a job, I think he's going to take it. Oh my God, here's a big run by the Vikings actually. Just as it looked like the Rams had him pinned. Yeah, Cam Akers, he had a couple of nice runs last week and they didn't give him the ball again after.
He did.
But if there's anyone I think that can work with Jerry, it is Deion Sanders. Right? Like from an ego perspective, they're both kind of the same. They do know each other, right? They like each other. There's a respect there. I think
he fumbled the ball.
I think that
He did.
another is it
turnover.
a fumble?
It's another turnover.
That is a fumble. He's
said
up
he was
too, and the
down.
play's not dead. No, they never blew it dead.
God. His knee is maybe
Sorry,
not.
George,
That
that
knee
helps
might be
my
down.
under.
That knee might be down. The one
Let me
replay
see.
here, his knee is down. Now, yeah, that ball comes out after, I think. I think replay might overturn this.
Was they, you know what? Then they get into the old, was the ball moving before, though, George?
I don't see it moving, but granted, you can't see the whole ball. You can only see part of the ball. It might be overturned. I'm not going to say definitely. Might be.
I think he's down.
I think he's down as well.
They ripped it out just as his knee was hitting the ground.
Yeah.
So
this
it
is
should
one
be
way they would
noted,
have called it
the
the other
play
way.
on the
There's no
field.
way they would overturn it. But I think they might overturn this.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. So the play on the field, that's at least a little bit of something to lean on. You're noticing, though, in the playoffs, they're going with the assist review stuff a lot more, right? Where the league is just stepping in. They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're just going to call it. So as I was saying, I think Dion can work with Jerry. So that's one thing as far as players and attitude, understanding the Cowboys. It's the opposite of McCarthy. McCarthy was a safe, sort of boring hire. This is like the opposite all in. And God knows, man, Jerry likes the attention. There'll be a hell of a lot of attention on the Dallas Cowboys next year if Deion Sanders is their coach. People are already throwing it out there. Trade Dak Prescott to Tennessee. Get Shedeur Sanders.
Tennessee don't want Dak.
No.
You're home for the winning edge, but you can call it the unfair advantage. But don't take our word for it. Just ask a winner. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Football Full Circle.
Dallas Cowboys is like the New York Giants. They're a polarizing organization, but I'll throw out potentially 3 names that I believe will be mentioned in terms of this gig. I told you Kellen Moore. How about Deion Sanders potentially to Big D? If anybody loves Jerry Jones and vice versa, it's Deion. And how about John Gruden?
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974 Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
At Sports Grid, we don't have time to hype.
We take trust seriously.
If our information wasn't rock solid, they wouldn't let us do it anymore.
That would be bad.
We've got car payments to make.
You can trust us.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Yeah, another commercial break, another touchdown. Another commercial break, another touchdown. It really is amazing. And they can't be saved this time. They can't be saved this time. So the Vikings get the football, and Sam Darnold gets hit, fumbles the football as he gets hit, and it gets returned for a touchdown. I talked about it last night. I knew there was going to be a defensive or special teams touchdown in this game, courtesy of Darnold. The wheels have fallen off. And now I got to worry about the 23.5 in the first half here as well. Because if there's another touchdown, I'm screwed. The Vikings, George, they're just big-time chokers, bro. They always have been, and they always will be. We're seeing it in person right here, right now.
Doesn't the season sort of remind you of had to be in the mid-2000s, 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, 14. I think it was Randall Cunningham and Gary Anderson, maybe back further than that now, where they had the great regular season and lost to, I think, the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Matthias' Falcons in the first round of the playoffs, too. This is not good. This is ugly. It was ugly last week, and this is uglier. I don't think Darnold's playing as poorly this week as he did last week, but, I mean, it's a sloppy game so far. They're not getting much going here. You got to break with the overturn, and you hand it right back plus, right, and give up 7 points here. And now, by the way, forget the run game. The Rams aren't going to care if you're going to run the ball anymore. You got to throw the ball over and over and over again to get back into this, sort of playing right to the Rams. Just like last week, the Lions knew what you were going to do, and they were coming after you. I think the Rams are going to do the same damn thing. They know what Darnold's going to be. They're going to come after him.
And guys, so last week in their biggest game of the year, they lost 31-9. And that was pretty actually, you know what I mean, kind. The scorers look kind to them. They lost 31-9. Now they're losing 17-3. So in other words, in their last 6 quarters, George, of their most important football of the season, they've been outscored 48-12.
That's
says
not
it all
good.
right there.
That sounds bad. That sounds bad.
Says it all right there, huh?
And by the way, how much money is Darnold costing himself right now? Assuming things don't turn around here. He's still got 2.5, 2+ quarters left. Things could get better. But how much money is he costing himself right now with these
$50 million or so?
Play when it matters most.
I'd say about $50 million. Goes from potentially getting, $300-400 million deal type of deal to, one.
I don't know what he gets
year,
right
you know
now.
what I mean?
I thought he would get Daniel Jones money, $160 before last week. That's what I thought.
Put it this way, I don't know, for whatever it's worth, and I don't know. There's all kinds of reports out there. You don't know what's true ever, but for whatever it's worth, there was a report that the Vikings plan on keeping Daniel Jones next year. So they already have J.J. McCarthy, which
if they keep it Jones,
means,
that means they're moving on from Darnold. Why would Jones stay?
That's exactly right. So that's what I'm thinking, guys, that it looks like. McCarthy coming off of surgery, and they plug Daniel Jones into the role of Sam Darnold played this year. The thing is, you can win in the regular season with these quarterbacks, but they're going to get exposed in the playoffs. Sort of like Flacco last year, George. Oh, everyone loved Flacco with the Browns in the regular season. He had a couple of games and stuff. What happened in the playoffs, bro? He threw like 6 interceptions or whatever. Remember, it was a train wreck.
He was throwing those interceptions in the regular season, too. He just got away with it. Then he didn't get away with it versus Houston. Darnold gets sacked again, by the way. He's dancing. I mean, this is. I think this might get ugly. I think this might get really ugly.
I said it earlier, George, in the show. I was like, damn, he's been sacked 5 times, guys. I said it earlier. I said, man, I'm not really fully, with my teaser. I got the Rams teased under 54.5. And I told Cam, I said, man, at this rate, I think it just could be a blowout. And it won't get close to 54.5. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be so one-sided. Let me ask you, you and I talked about it last night, and I kidded that Darnold will suck so hard they'll have to put Jones in, and he'll come in and be the hero. Do you make the change at the half? Do you say, you know what, we're going to throw Jones in here?
He's third string. He's not the backup. So you bring in Jones, but you can't bring anybody back. So that would be an issue in case of an injury. So I don't think you can do it yet. Maybe do it in the fourth quarter. Because, like I said, Jones would get hurt. Who's playing quarterback then? Jefferson? Yeah, you can't bring the other two. I think that's the rule. Where you can't bring the other 2 guys back.
Are you sure he's listed as third on the depth chart tonight?
He is. He is third. Yeah, that I am sure. Mullins is the backup. So I think they would go to Mullins first. But this is just. Let me put it this way. I think
they're going to die.
I think he gets this drive. I think he gets the first drive of the second half. Darnold. If it's still 20-3, 23-3 after that, be by mid-third quarter. Then I think you're O'Connell. I don't know if you have a choice.
But it should be noted, like he's been sacked 5 times. So, you know what I mean? It's not fully his fault here. I know we can pick on
he looked worse last week.
Sort of imploding.
He looked worse last week against Detroit. He looked like he was seeing deer in headlights and all that and ghosts and haunted houses. He doesn't look that bad. God,
there's a little more than 2 minutes left, man. Touchdown kills me. I got to hold him to a field goal here. I need a field goal. Stupid scoop and score. Thanks, Sam. All right, Kurtz. Thanks, George.
Be good, everybody.
And now, for your listening pleasure, we give you Sports Grid summed up in one single symbolic sound effect. Get it? This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
Everything you need to get the winning edge right here.
No wonder the wife says you need to spend more time with the kids.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Well, this number just keeps lingering. I am Gable Morency. Our number, 159, Sirius XM channel 159. In-game total, 46.5. So it's basically just like, it's pretty much right on the number. It ended up closing at 47.5 tonight. I've got an under 23.5 in play here in the first half, and I really don't want a touchdown. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, whatever, kick a damn field goal. Like, a touchdown's really going to upset me, and stupid scoop and score got me. You know, this game should be at 13 right now, but I guess whatever. There could have been another one that wasn't counted, so I guess it sort of evens out. I hate betting on unders, and somebody in the chat, who was it? I forget your name. I'll look in a second. Saying they're surprised that they thought I only bet unders. No, I bet unders in baseball and hockey. I bet overs in football and basketball. But I don't know if I fell sort of under the spell of what I saw over the weekend so much in the NFL playoffs with all the unders. I don't really think the Rams are like a track meet type of team. Look, the Rams got 7 free points from a fumble, right? It's not like their offense is going up and down the field. And quite frankly, I didn't think much of the Minnesota Viking offense tonight, as crazy as it sounds. Everything changes in the playoffs. Like, throw all the regular season numbers out. That's why I have less player props now. It's like, I don't know. Right? I mean, look, we'll get you the player prop update, but I guarantee you everyone is a hell of a lot lower except Higbee. The Higbee players have cashed in, and Cam Stewart had Higbee early. I think George Kurtz had a piece of Higbee. There's a big sack. Darnold goes down again. Now, let's see here. Like, everyone is being critical of Sam Darnold. What do you want him to do? Like, honestly, like, look at a replay of his play here for people tuning in on the radio. Sam Darnold drops back to pass. He actually has some time, right? Like, he drops back straight in the pocket. You know, he had about 3 seconds, 2.5, 3 seconds before he got, he did get sacked eventually, but the fact of the matter is nobody was open. Nobody was open. And they just give the ball to the Los Angeles Rams, in territory here right now. Just an absolute disaster, the Vikings. Like, the play calling is out of sync. O'Connell is rattled right now. O'Connell is rattled. Sam Darnold is rattled. The entire team is rattled. Like I said, this is just a continuation from a crappy performance last week in Detroit that's carrying over. Puka Nacua looks a little banged up going to the sideline here right now. But what an absolute, train wreck. So the Vikings, and I get it, you're losing 17-3, so the Vikings go for it. It's 4th and 2. And nobody's open. But the problem is, and like I said, I'm defending Darnold on this, is it's 4th and 2. Why did you guys draw up a play that was going to take time? Like, you know what I mean? You got Sam Darnold. He's back there. He's not mobile at all. He can't buy any time in the pocket. You got a 4th and 2, and you run a play that you see the design. They showed the camera from Darnold's angle. Everybody was running down the field. It's 4th and 2. And what, you guys had a plan to throw like a 20-yarder? Now Jefferson is sitting by himself, just staring at the ground. All the Viking players are just sitting by themselves now. Like I said, this is a continuation from last week into this game. And it's not Darnold's fault, really. Darnold's not helping, but the offensive line is just getting lit the F up right now. Cam Stewart is back with us, and the 4-sided teasers, Cam, could be a 2-sided. You got to hope for the 2-side teaser here.
Yeah, you're right. You're
right.
You know what I mean? It's brutal, Gabe. Just watching, you said it. The thing is, as professional athletes, sometimes you can shake it up. You're absolutely right. That Detroit game did something internally to the Vikings, and they're not handling it.
They needed a hot start tonight,
well.
Cam, to erase it from last week.
It's just shocking, though. You're a professional athlete. You're in the playoffs now, and you said it. You're down only 2 touchdowns, not 28 points. You're whining. You're not talking to each other. Even seeing O'Connell that rattled, it's very odd to me. Darnold's not been great, but I'm with you. There was nobody open on that play, and they should have probably ran the ball other than set up a play that's going to take 5 seconds.
Why not just do a quick screenplay or come up with something?
They've been running the ball well on the edge.
Brotherly shove, wildcat, whatever.
Anything. The whole team, the attitude, the way, the execution, it's been awful. The Rams, we talked about it. Nakua's a little bit banged up. Higbee's out of the game, but these guys, if they don't get it together, very bad body language game for a team that's only down 14 points. It's just, that's the thing. The Vikings haven't faced a lot of adversity this year, and when they did, it's not very good. Their response to it is horrible, in fact.
It just really goes to show the difference between, and the tackling is bad on defense, too. Yeah. Look at this. I'm going to lose this. Oh, my God. Look at this play here, guys. So Nakua's back on the field. They literally dumped it off to Nacua for a 2 or 3 yard, just sort of, yeah, whatever, bro. Mm-hmm. The Rams weren't even trying to get anything out of it. It was just one of those little simple, let's see what we can pick up here. Nobody tackled him. He picked up 12, 13 yards. Oh, I'm going to lose the first half. There it is. Touchdown, Rams. The Vikings are done.
They are. I don't even know.
I said it earlier. I said the 5.5 actually looks pretty tempting with the Rams. Mm-hmm. Davis Allen, the random, and that's another thing in the playoffs. You have random touchdown scores. Davis freaking Allen with the touchdown.
What's his anytime
Davis
touchdown?
Allen?
That's the thing. 10-1. Is he listed?
No, it'd be more than that.
Yeah,
the backup tight end, not Higbee. So Allen comes in for a Higbee and catches a touchdown. And look at the touchdown, guys, dude. I would have scored. Look at this. No one even touches him. He literally, Stafford drops back. The tight end is all alone in the middle of the field. Tight end catches it, turns around, and basically walks into the end zone, and no one even touched him. Talking about bad tackling, the Vikings defense have tapped out now. Son of a... In-game totals, 50.5 now for the record. God, the Vikings suck. What an embarrassment. Thank God I'm not on them. I'd be raging right now if I was on the Vikings. I was on them last week, so I'm not mocking anybody for taking them. I took them last week, but I learned my lesson.
Oh, I don't know about learn. It's just kind of crazy that 1 week can lead to this performance. The part of being a professional athlete is, they played great all throughout the year. They were one of the best teams in the NFL, so people thought. And what?
Regular season, Cam, and postseason, 2 different things.
No, I get it, Gabe, but they're a 14-win football team. You don't go into the playoffs and lose by 21. It's just there's a disconnect somewhere within the team. I can't say that game against the Lions made this. It's ridiculous. And the fact that they're tapping out already, that's the shocking thing. Like, I don't really understand. Like, there's teams that are down, they fight back. Just the whole team, the body language, you said it, the tackling. It's like they've kind of basically said, we're done. Very, very strange.
The frustration is kicking in. All right, like I said, like I brought it up with Kurtz. They got outscored 31-9 last week. Now they're down 24-3 in the first half. Like I said, this is worse than last week. And think about that. Like, as bad as it was last week for them, and it's so bad, these guys are losing, they didn't even run a play here. I think you are talking about topping out.
Rams get the ball at the start too, Gabe. They get the ball coming out of the
Vikings.
half,
the Vikings get the ball. No, the Vikings get the ball to start the second half. Yeah, Kieran Williams, the Rams scored on the first drive of the game. But like I said, whatever. You're looking for a miracle there. There's 8 seconds left or whatnot. If you're Minnesota, as I said, Minnesota receives the second half kickoff. If you're Minnesota, whatever, dude. You throw a Hail Mary. Maybe you got a pass interference penalty or something. But things are so bad, they're like, no, he might fumble. Like, we might fumble the ball or something bad might happen here. Like, you don't want to talk about quitting at the half. They just said, no, Moss, we're out.
I don't want to blame Darnold, but how much does Daniel Jones know the playbook? Like, does he know?
Jones is the emergency quarterback only tonight, too. So Mullins is officially the second.
Oh, yeah, Nick Mullins. The guy can throw interceptions and touchdowns, Gabe. We've seen the Nick Mullins show before. He's a wild man. Southern misses.
We got to figure out what to do with the second half of this game.
Yeah, I don't know what to do.
First half over-unders. What was I thinking?
I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Unders.
For the record, we love sports gaming. Always have.
That's why we never dated in high school.
Enhance your life.
Get the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974 Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Think of it like this. You can either CYA
or you can CYO.
As in, cover your eyes. Because if you don't CYO,
you're going to have to CYA with a wife.
Giving you the info you need to CYO. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage Game Day, Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid on demand on YouTube. Shout out to everybody joining us on YouTube right now and on satellite radio, wherever you may be. This evening, we're at the half right now. Another debacle. There was really only one competitive football game this weekend, and that was last night's Commanders and Buccaneers game, and that game was okay. It wasn't great. But the next weekend, the next weekend's NFL will be lit. Right? We're going to have some great matchups. And I think it's pretty safe to say we're looking at the Los Angeles Rams going to Philadelphia now. And honestly, if I was the Eagles, guys, I'm not happy about how it played out if I was the Eagles. And listen, the Eagles are still a great team and they're at home. But with the Commanders winning, it threw that bracket for a loop in the NFC. And suddenly the Eagles are getting tonight's winner. And I said yesterday, I think that the Vikings wouldn't have a hope in hell in Philadelphia, right? It's like we see this. Like the Vikings are chokers. They're choking tonight. They weren't going to beat Philadelphia. I didn't think they were going to win tonight, but I didn't think they were going to beat Philadelphia. If you're Philadelphia, you were going to get like the Buccaneers before. Like you thought, all right, we're probably going to get the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers were not going to beat the Eagles in Philadelphia. The Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold don't have a hope in hell of going into Philadelphia and beating them. The one team, if you're the Eagles, besides the Lions, that you would say, you know what, this is kind of not a free pass here, is the Los Angeles Rams. Right? Now, we'll be outdoors. We'll check the weather and all that. We're not there yet. Maybe the Rams choke this away. I doubt it, but here they got a promo for the TGL. It's Tiger Woods. I guess no one's testing Tiger for roids anymore. It looks like Scott Steiner. He's ripped.
I know, the guy's huge. I'm
like, what's this going on? Tiger Woods looks like an MMA promo.
Tiger Woods is like he takes up the screen. Oh, my God. He's a monster.
That's tomorrow. I forgot. The TGL is back tomorrow. LA Golf Club versus the Jupiter Lynx.
I like LA Golf Club over Jupiter Lynx myself. That's just me. Should have bet on that instead of this football game.
I don't know let me see what the odds are for this match 2 tomorrow. LA Golf Club are minus 175 favorites.
Oh, wow. You've really adjusted.
Jupiter Lynx are plus 137.
So you're telling me we had 1 week of this stuff, and because of the publicity and actually people watching, we go from basically a pick'em or a minus 120 status to minus 170? Okay. That's actually, Gabe, I'm just telling you, though, knowing golf and stuff like that, that's a big number. Like, that line should be even $130, $140. Like, 170 is very big for
but you know what this is? This is a case of LA, don't forget, were the preseason favorites to win the championship. And Jupiter and the Tigers team were the longest odd shots to win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, this is his team, so that's why, you know what I mean? You got the favorite against the biggest long shot in the first time they're playing, so that's why the odds are what they are. LA Golf Club is stacked. They got Justin Rose, Colin Morikawa, Sahith Theegala, and Tommy Fleetwood.
Great team.
But this is indoor golf. It's different. Jupiter, not a bad team. They got Tiger Woods, and don't forget, this is Tiger Woods' league. Along with Rory. Like, they're the ones that invested in this and created it and came up with the idea and stuff. So if there's anybody that's practiced and that's played this a little bit, it will be Tiger. He's been part of the development of the damn arena and all that. So, like I said, like last week, Shane Lowry admitted saying, no, I never played here before. It's the first time I'm actually hitting a ball on this surface. And they played well. But so Tiger's team, Tiger Woods, Max Homa, Tom Kim, Kevin Kisner. Not a bad team.
It's okay. Kisner's a guy that has kind of lost his form, Gabe, but he used to be one of the best players in the world. But, you know, he's doing a lot of broadcasting now. Him and Smiley are the guys at the 16th hole and the tournaments where all the players, they do the interviews and stuff. So he's kind of taking his career as an older player into the broadcasting fray, but he still has a great, really good game. Like, doesn't hit it very far, but in the simulator, I don't think touch is more of a thing. And I like the other team, like Fleetwood is one of the best all-around players. Yeah, the number is a little bit inflated, though. Like, 170 is a lot. And you're absolutely right. Tiger Woods and Rory came up with the development of this league. So I think he knows Tiger's good. You know, the guy's competitive at anything. He wants to probably beat his kid at checkers, chess, whatever the hell he's playing. He wants to win. So I would never count him out. But that other LA Golf Club's got a really good team, front to back.
I'll tell you, due to the number, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about pulling the trigger with Jupiter. I mean, it's just so random, this stuff. I mean, we've only had one match of it. These teams have never played. The LA guys have never played here before either. Not really from LA, all of them, but like the LA Golf Club team hasn't played this format. It's all new for everybody. And I do think that Tiger will be good at this. Like I said, Tiger's taking it seriously, as he stated last week. He said, he goes, we all know I can't play on the tour and play a bunch of events anymore. And he goes, but this is something that can keep me involved and still playing golf at a high level. And he said, I really think this is the future. And he was really down with it. So, like I said, I could see Tiger being really jacked up and into this, and wouldn't be surprised if he plays well. I'm an anti. I'm not betting on Tiger in like real golf events, and people throw their money away for sentimental purposes. But for this, I'm getting him at plus 137. Like I said, it is his league, bro. I'm going to be, and it's a simulator, right? And basically, how's he going to putt? How's his short game going to be, right? That's what this stuff really comes down to.
Good point. You know what, Gabe? You're absolutely right. Tiger Woods, too, is probably working on this, him and Rory, more than anybody as the founders, and they understand the concepts. One thing about Tiger Woods that I've noticed, though, Gabe, watching golf over a long time is, other than Augusta, you're right. Like, you can't bet him on any courses. It's too long for him. And as you get older, it's really weird. Tiger talked about it on Golf Channel. He's like, the one thing that really bothers me about getting older now, I can't read putts as well. That's been his problem. Like, older with your eyesight and glasses and things like that. People are like, what are you talking about, Cameron? No, it's the facts. Like, he talked about it with all those guys at Golf Channel.
So this is good.
When I was younger.
There's only one green here, Cam. He doesn't have to worry about it. There's one green. You know what I'm saying?
But you understand where I'm coming from? This is very important. Yeah. When you get older, and Arnold Palmer and all those guys talked about it, what's tougher for you? He goes, I can't read the greens than when I did when I was younger. My eyesight, I'm missing breaks. That's the thing. It takes a young man to read the greens. So you're right, Gabe. In the simulator, I think it's very important that I think there's less breaks. I think it's more real. And I think him and Charlie probably play a lot of video games together as a father with him. And you got to believe Tiger and him hit the simulator harder than like anybody. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup tomorrow. Talent versus these guys, but it's a great price for Woods.
Listen, it was entertaining last week. It took 1 hour and 51 minutes when it was all said and done last week. It's a quick watch.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius. Moneyline.
The more he lost, the more he cheated. The more organizational changes at Michigan that he made. He'll do the same thing with the Chargers. You need a coach that's willing to put your team on the edge to win a championship, and Harbaugh is going to do that. I'm buying the Chargers' future because they got a coach that will do whatever he can to win a championship, which includes cheat all the way there.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents this date in sports history.
1974 Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Your family knows you take sports gaming seriously.
Don't let their concerned looks distract you
as you obsess over your odds, stats, and lines, because you're one of us.
We understand you.
Get the winning edge.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The second half has begun. The Los Angeles Rams kick off to the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings get the ball first, and they're in a desperate situation here right now. We'll see what they have They've been humiliated for 6 consecutive quarters of football in their biggest football games of the year. Last week, the number 1 seed was on the line. They lost 31-9 in a football game. The final score was pretty flattering at 31-9 for them. Now they've been outscored 24-3 in the first half of this football game. So it's been an absolute disaster train wreck for them. Looking at the in-game props here, guys, there really isn't a lot to work with. It's all too high. Like Jordan Addison. So listen, Jordan Addison's got 1 catch. His reception now is 3.5. Jefferson has 5 at the half. He's now at 9.5. I don't have confidence in taking anyone on Minnesota because I don't believe in Sam Darnold. He might complete a couple of passes. He could fumble the ball. He could get taken out of the game eventually. I don't know. Like, I don't have a lot of confidence. They just completed one Addison there, actually. So looking, I'm not really sure who to jump in on. Jefferson with 9.5 was ridiculous, right? He was at 5, so we needed 5 whole catches. You get Jefferson now, guys, at 8.5 at -160. I'll take a shot with this because they're not really going to have a choice but to throw the freaking football on every play here for the rest of this football game. But it's a weird in-game stuff. Normally, I would jump in and say, oh, Sam Darnold passing yard prop to the over, but I really have a hard time believing him in any of this and trusting him. All right, they just locked the Viking player props. What was this quote? Let's see where he's at here. Sam Darnold, his quarterback passing yard prop is 285.5.
Oh,
he's at 128 right now.
I got to tell you, they just made that play to Addison, Gabe. That was almost picked again. Like, it just got there. Like, the Rams are reading everything that they're doing. Sure, they caught the ball, but they were there, and that ball is one a little bit off, and that's another pick. Like, he doesn't look sharp, so I think that number's a little bit ridiculous, to be honest with you.
You know, the thing is with Darnold is we've been critical of him. This is where numbers can be deceptive as well. That's why I hate people's numbers. Darnold is 14-19 for 128 yards. So it's not like he's, like last week it was like 17-42 or whatever it was. It was bad last week. He's been pretty accurate. Like I said, his balls are a little high and stuff, but 14-19, he has thrown the interception and he's fumbled the ball as well when he got sacked. And he keeps getting lit up and he keeps getting sacked. He's been sacked like 6 times. But they're really not fully his fault. I mean, the line is blowing up, but he's not helping either. I mean, he's just so not mobile. He's just so in the pocket all the time. The Rams are just collapsing it around him. And we've got a big third down coming up here at midfield for the Minnesota Vikings. And Darnold was nowhere close on that pass, Cam. Look at this one. Dear God, he's like a yard behind him.
That's awful.
A nailer.
And what are you going to do now?
That's big, bro. They're punting. They punted. Wow. You see, that's when we say it's not Darnold's fault fully, but Darnold, he wasn't close on this. He literally was 5 yards behind Naylor, bro. That was bad.
He had
to take
time.
a guy out of the stands, and the stands would have done that.
That's awful. No, Gabe, that's the thing. Their offensive line has been brutal, but they showed that play from behind. All their guys, he had room, every lane, and he misfires by 8, way behind the guy. That's on Darnold. That's not a pro throw. That's brutal. That's bad. God, that's bad. It's awful.
Yeah, it is. It's
I have no one else to tell you. That's so bad. Brutal.
In-game total is 48.5. So it's a little higher. So we got up to 27. Listen, I already lost on getting cute by taking the first halves, the first quarter and the first half under the number. I'm on the Rams, and I've got a teaser with the Rams to the under 54.5. I don't think it's getting to 55, Cam. I feel pretty good about it. I don't even think it's getting to 48.5, though. I don't want to chase this because the Rams are going to start running the ball soon.
Big time.
Eventually, why would they have to do anything? They're just going to say, screw this, man. And we don't want to get we don't want to get Nakua hurt. They have a 21-point lead. Their defense is playing suffocating football. I got to believe they're just going to start running the ball soon.
Yeah, exactly, Gabe. McVay's no stooge. You got Nakua on an injury who's there. You can't get him hurt. You're going to maybe play the Philadelphia Eagles. You win this game. Yeah, you got to stay healthy. And the thing is, you run the ball. You try to shorten the game, as we talked about with unders. So, no, there's no reason to, light it up. The Vikings can't do crap. Their defense is all over them.
The steamroller Scott Steen will step up and join us on the other side. Look at his thoughts on Kansas City and the Houston Texans and more.
Fall is here. Football and the World Series are coming in. Life is good. Sports Grid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Sports Rage tonight.
I don't want to be the guy that says what I saw last, but how the hell do you bet on Sam Darnold going to Los Angeles? I mean, this ghost. This guy lives in a haunted house. He saw some ghosts last night, bro. The Vikings like to blitz the crap out of you. Yeah, good luck blitzing Matt Stafford, because he's never seen a blitz before, right? And they can't change their system. It is what it is.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
You're listening to where real winners go for actionable insights and expert perspectives on daily sporting events.
7 days a week.
It's not a secret or anything.
I mean, we have a promotion budget for Pete's sake.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Scumbags! Rage! Sports Rage with Gabe Morency. Rage all you want.
Let's roll. The Monday Night Meltdown continues. Sports Rage Game Day. I am Gabe Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159. And in fact, some of you might be just tuning in right now because this is normally when we start. Although we've been doing the prime time. We've been doing all the prime time games. I would say this is our last NFL one. But we'll be on next Monday for the national championship game. The college football, man, they drag this stuff out way too long. So January 20th, next Monday, will be the national championship game. The Minnesota Vikings will not be playing any championship games. The Minnesota Vikings are losing 24-3 right now, and the Rams are moving the ball. This game is all but done. Early in the game, I said, man, Rams minus 5.5. It doesn't look crazy right now when it was 10-0. You can just sort of see the writing on the wall that this is a continuation from last week's performance against the Detroit Lions. And it's not just Sam Darnold. Like, Darnold is going to take the most criticism here. But it's a disaster all around, guys. The Vikings can't tackle. Their defense is starting to give up a bit. The offensive line is getting torched. Sam Darnold's running for his life. We got a 24-3 game. Let's bring in the steamroller right now. Scott, good to catch up with you. Thanks for joining us. The steamroller. How you doing tonight, Scott?
I'm doing good, man. This is quite a game. Darnold's seeing more Ghost in the Mystery Machine tonight. They are just absolutely collapsing that pocket, man. And you know what? He's actually having a pretty good game for the amount of pressure that he's been under, but he's getting absolutely no help whatsoever. The Vikings, you know what? They've done a great job of shutting down Cooper Kupp. Congratulations, boys. That is a terrific game plan if it was 2021. No targets for Cooper Kupp. However, their tight ends have 8 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. So you might want to cover those guys. Just saying. How are you?
That's the one thing about Sean McVay, though, huh? In the playoffs, winning coaches will find ways to score with not their star players. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like a lot of star players get taken out of the equation, so you just called it. He's like, all right, you know what? You took Cup out of the equation. The Nakua really hasn't gone off. We're going to tear you apart over the middle of the field because we know you're going to be so worried about our wide receivers. And hell, they got their backup. Their backup tight end scored a touchdown even.
Yeah, that's absolutely brutal. 3 tight ends have caught passes tonight. I'm on the right side of this one as far as the side goes. I had the Rams money line. I've got the under 47.5, so that's a serious sweat. I know the Rams are just going to try to run that ball down the field and hopefully chew up some clock. We'll see what happens. Big third down coming up here.
Yeah, and here's Cooper Kupp. We mushed it. Cooper Kupp right on cue because I'm on the under of this game as well. I got a tease under 54.5 with the Rams at plus 9.5. And right on cue as we talk about Cooper Kupp catches like a 30-yard pass.
Nice back shoulder. Jesus.
Yeah, they figured, oh, no, we're going to get it. Don't worry, we're getting it to Kupp eventually. So they get it to Kupp.
I didn't know I had that kind of power. I'm going to have to remember that when the Chiefs play. So, yeah, that's good to know, man.
In-game total up to 49.5. Like you said, this is treacherous territory here. I thought the same thing about, listen, the Rams are going to start to run the football and try to ice this football game soon, but looks like they want one more, right? 24-3 is not really a rout, you know?
Yeah. No, I don't know that they want to make a statement so much, but I think they want to give themselves confidence going into next week, whoever they going into Detroit there. So, they're going to have to go to Philly, right? Yeah.
Philly. So Commanders and the Lions.
Yeah, Commanders screwed the pooch, so they're going to Detroit, and these guys are going to Philly. Good luck with that, both of them. Good luck to the Commanders, and good luck to the Rams here. But those are
the Rams have a better chance though than anyone else would have. I think going into Philadelphia. Stafford's a veteran. Kupp and Nakua. They're not going to get rattled by being on the road in the same way that some of the other teams will. I'm not saying they're going to beat them, but I'm just saying I think they at least have a puncher's shot. And truth be told, yesterday, yeah, the Eagles' defense is really good. We should know Christian Watson, their best wide receiver, their deep down the field, their fastest wide receiver, wasn't playing. So they didn't have their deep down the field threat. Romeo Doubs is already injured. He gets hurt in the game. Jaden Reed gets hurt in the game. They lose their center in the football game. But, oh, God, did the Rams just fumble? The Vikings believe so. I don't think so. I don't know what were the Vikings? Are the Vikings this delusional?
Let me see it again here.
He's down.
He's got to be down. Yeah,
he's way down. Like the Vikings, like basically he was a dead dude. He was down and he hurt his knee and he kind of just dropped the ball when he was already on the ground. The Viking picked it up like he had it.
Stop. Begging,
why not?
Boys.
They need anything
begging.
At this point, Scott.
Right.
I would have been happy if it was a fumble. I don't want any points. I'm with you. Let's slow this game down.
I'm torn. I've got Stafford over 243.5. So I need some air yards. I just don't need them to end up in the end zone. You know, if they could get down to the 5 and kick a field goal, all right, that's great. And I didn't know this. Nobody is in the postseason averages more yards per game and through the air than Stafford. He is the number one of all time, averages almost 304 yards a game. His total tonight, 243.5.
So going back to what I was saying. So exactly. So they're going to go to Philadelphia and look at Philadelphia's offense yesterday. They really didn't do much. Let's call it off what it is. I mean, the Green Bay Packers gave them the opening touchdown. They fumbled so give them credit. They took advantage. They scored a touchdown, but the Packers fumbled the opening kickoff, and the Eagles got the ball at the 20-yard line or whatever. They scored the touchdown.
Well, yeah, and that was a quarterback for Green Bay that had a turnover in like over 400 plays, and he absolutely screwed the pooch yesterday through 3 picks. So,
well, he didn't have any wide receivers either. I mean,
that's true. That's very true.
People that's another thing. Like people are ripping Jordan Love today. So what the hell do you want him to do? Like you really think Heath and Wicks and these guys? Like it was a miracle. It was a miracle they were in the football game and it could have potentially covered, but they missed a 38-yard field goal. That they would have changed things early. They missed a 38-yard field goal. They give up. So basically, there's like 10 points. The Eagles' offense, their passing attack isn't scaring anybody. Right, so you got Saquon Barkley popping these big plays. I think they'll beat the Rams. Although I'm intrigued by what the point's going to be. I think they beat the Rams. But with that being stated, I think the Lions. If Philadelphia goes to Detroit, I think Detroit will beat Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia are imperfect. Now they lose Dean as well on the defensive side of the football. But I think Philadelphia are good, but they're beatable.
Yeah, they didn't do anything special yesterday. Barkley was fine. He went for 119, but he averaged less than 5 yards a carry, so he was fine. They put up 300 yards total offense. Let me tell you something. 300 yards total offense ain't going to beat the Lions. Not a chance.
So you like the Lions in this game? It's up to 9 points, bro, right now. Detroit are -9. Total's 55.5.
No, I'm talking about Lions. I'm talking about Lions Eagles.
I know, but what do you think of the Commanders at Lions game?
I'm probably going to play the Commanders. I've got to look some more at it, but I'm not laying 9 in a playoff game. That's and if they cover, Godspeed, that's good for you. But I'm not going to lay 9 in a playoff game. Just not going. Although having said that, laid 8.5 with Buffalo yesterday and worked out fine. But I think this Commanders may have a little bit.
The margin of victory does go down, though, guys. So it's not a surprise. Everybody gets upset every wild card weekend. The margin of victory in a wild card there's usually a lot of blowouts because there's a lot of sort of mediocre average teams. Now, you know what? You got better. Yeah, now you got better teams, though, playing against each other. And you got big point spreads. For the record, right now, the Vikings are getting 20.5. So the Rams are -20.5, and they're up by 21. And they have the ball in Viking territory. So, I don't know. You can almost make an argument that the 20.5 isn't a bad bet still on the Rams here, Scott. As crazy as it sounds.
The Vikings have, really shown nothing. They certainly haven't shown the ability to do much on the other side of the 50. So, the one time they do get it close, they get the field goal. So, I don't know, man. That seems almost too good to be true, my brother. It really does.
Kieran Williams still on the sideline. That'd be a bad situation. Doesn't seem to be majorly hurt, so he's not in a 10 or anything, but he's watching on the sideline. His knee landed kind of awkwardly. All right, we'll get Scott's thoughts. He's the Kansas City Chiefs fan. Speaking of big point spreads, we've got an 8 on the board right now. The Kansas City Chiefs are laying 8 points to the visiting Houston Texans.
Two kinds of people in the world. Those that listen to Sports Grid and those that blame their losses on zodiac signs. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Money line.
The more he lost, the more he cheated. The more organizational changes at Michigan that he made. He'll do the same thing with the Chargers. You need a coach that's willing to put your team on the edge to win a championship, and Harbaugh's going to do that. I'm buying the Chargers' future because they got a coach that will do whatever he can to win a championship, which includes cheat all the way there.
Catch Moneyline with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network. Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. These days, it's hard to find something you can invest in. Crypto? That's not where we're going with this, Sporto. The most valuable commodity is information. That's where we come in. We're your trusted source for gaming, odds, and more. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
One blowout after another. 27-3 right now for the Los Angeles Rams, playing a quote-unquote home game in Arizona. And as I stated, it clearly doesn't matter. it is what it is. It's disappointing they're not playing at home, but I talked about it. You think it's going to affect Matt Stafford and once they're on the field, and no, and we're seeing this. Plus the Vikings, just disappointed me. Look at the Vikings too. I didn't think, Scott, there's a lot of Viking fans here, but there's a lot of like Midwesterners that live in Arizona, right? So there's a lot of locals that are there and stuff, but I didn't think, like, after watching the Vikings last week, if you were a Viking fan and you went to Detroit to watch the game, why the hell would you believe in them now? But imagine some poor bastard Viking fan that's hardcore and actually went to both these games. It's got to be gut-wrenching.
Yeah, they were
You're
saying,
a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Nothing but glory for you. You're not used to the pain of other teams.
Oh, man. The thing is, I'm an old Chiefs fan, so I remember a lot of really, really bad years. Tyler Thigpen, Brody Croyle. I remember a lot of bad years in Kansas City, man. So
they were. The Chiefs have always really been bad until they haven't been recently.
Dude, it was 50 years between Super Bowls. Like, come on, give us something. People are like,
yeah, no, that's it. You can't dispute. It's a lot like the Red Sox. Right? The Red Sox didn't win forever, and people didn't hate them, right? And then people even liked, they came back on the Yankees. It was a great story and stuff. And then after they won like the third or fourth time, whatever, it's like, God, will they shut up about it? You know what I mean?
Tired of the Red Sox now. Yeah, you don't need anything to make people from Boston extra annoying. It's you just got enough.
No. The Red Sox winning, so then the Patriots started winning, and it just sort of set off everything. And the Reds before they just had the Celtics, and the Bruins would always choke. But speaking of the Chiefs, favorable matchup. But this is why you earn the top seed, right? I mean, as a Buffalo Bill fan, it's frustrating that, oh, man, like you got to play Lamar, you got to play the Baltimore Ravens here. But that's why every game counts. That's why, seeds count. And being the 1 seed is so freaking critical. It's not just so much about like the bye week, Scott, like, you know what I mean? It's about playing easier teams. It's about limiting the opportunity for injuries by playing one less game. There's just so many reasons why, man, that 1 seed, and Andy Reid and the Chiefs understand that.
Yeah, when you reseed after the wild card round, it makes all the difference in the world to have that 1 seed, because if there's an upset and there's a Texans or a Steelers or somebody that sneaks through, or in the NFC you're talking about the Commanders, you get one of those teams that pull off the upset, all of a sudden you've got what should be an easier path. We've seen all these teams lose to teams they probably shouldn't have at some point during the season, but I think the Chiefs are going to be ready for the postseason because that's what they do. They're built for this run right here. I'm going to be curious to see how the Lions do without having a lot of recent success, never having been to the Super Bowl. I'm kind of curious to see if the collars get a little tight for the Lions. But I've got, in this Chiefs game, I got them covering, Gabe. And my first gut reaction is when I saw the line is like, I've got to play the Texans. I got to play the Texans here. But the more I started looking at it and I started looking at game film, the Chiefs have played the last 3 games, not counting the Denver game when they literally rested 18 of their 22 starters on the 2 sides of the ball. They won those last 3 games by an average of 13.7 points per game, beat Cleveland, Houston, and Pittsburgh. None of those games were closer than 8. And 8 was how many they beat the Texans by. I think this is a team that's going to be ready. I don't know. They were able to handle the Texans pass rush last time. That's always the concern with the Chiefs, especially at the left tackle position. Tooney seems to be doing the job over there for now. I don't know if they're going to stick with him all the way through. They went out and they brought in DJ Humphries, and of course he had the hammy injury there in his second game, but he's healthy now. So I'm curious to see if Tooney's still going to be at the left tackle position or if they're going to move Humphries back in there. But they had Tooney in there last time, and they handled that pass rush of Houston just fine. They got 0 sacks in that game. So I think the Chiefs are going to be ready. They're rested. Everybody's going to be healthy. Hollywood Brown is really, I think, going to be a key factor in this run for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is real comfortable with him. They spent a lot of time with him in the off season before he got hurt in the first preseason game, and I think they're starting to find their rhythm as well. You got the NFL current leader in receptions in D-Hop there, and you've got one of the fastest rookies ever in Xavier Worthy. So all of a sudden, you've got a pretty good receiver room here at just the right time.
They are, and as you stated, everything has been predicated on building up to this moment in the playoffs to become the first team ever to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. And even with that being stated, they still ended up only losing 2 games, and one of them they rested everybody. It goes to show the level. And it's funny because people have been critical of them. Well, they're not as good as this or not as good as that. Yet you could argue, well, this is the best team. If you look at the record and what they've done, it really, And, if you look at the Texans, it's that classic matchup, right? Houston rolls in there. We've seen this a bunch of times. Houston win their first game. They go into KC. They'll hang around for a little while. There'll be a play here, a play there. And then in the end, I always look for reasons to bet against Kansas City because, you figure they're overvalued. And as well as anybody, they're not some sort of covering covering machine. Right. Oh, there's the touchdown. So the Vikings are on the board. The Vikings are on the board. They're showing a little bit of life here. Hawkinson with the touchdown, guys. Yeah. There's the Hawkinson over 42.5 yards on the game. But Hawkinson with the touchdown. They're showing signs of life. Now you and I got to sweat out this total here.
Man, I'm not loving that at all. I don't like our chances. What's you got the running total in front of you? You got the current total?
They locked it. Oh yeah, here we go. 52.5. Oh boy, 52.5 now.
Even higher than I thought. Yeah, we're in trouble. Oh well. Yeah, you know what?
52.5. They're going for 2. It'd be nice if they don't get it, just to sort of slow it down. I'd rather they not.
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
So it's big, right? They're trying to cut the lead to 16, right? They're down by 18 right now.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, they think so. Right? They think so. Showing a little bit of life here. And the 2-point convert is not successful. They don't get the 2. It's only 2 points, but that helps like a little bit. Just like they'd be a little bit more fired up if it was 11. You know what I mean? It kills the momentum a little.
Look, we're not saying the other sports gaming stations aren't strong, but we're pretty sure they all have lace on their underwear. Don't screw around. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974 Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurchis.
Football Full Circle.
Dallas Cowboys is like the New York Giants. They're a polarizing organization, but I'll throw out potentially 3 names that I believe will be mentioned in terms of this gig. I told you Kellen Moore. How about Deion Sanders potentially to Big D? If anybody loves Jerry Jones and vice versa, it's Deion. And how about John Gruden?
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything you need to get the winning edge. Right here. All the time. No wonder the wife says you never listen to her. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Well, the Vikings showing signs of life. Put a touchdown on the board, but the 2-point conversion fails. Darnold passed it, but it had no chance. He passed it to someone who was going to get tackled at like the 2-3 yard line. So it's 27-9 right now. The in-game total is 50.5. We got about 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter of play. So it's a strange score right now at 27-9. And speaking of strange scores, the 32-12 game the other day, 32-12 in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. First ever, or excuse me, the Chargers and Texans. First ever 32-12 final score in NFL history.
Score-a-gami, baby.
Yeah, you figured that would have
man.
happened before. But no, hey, 32-12. First time it ever happened, Scott.
There you go. Whoever had twos in their grid, whoever had 2-2 in their by a square, made out like a bandit. They thought they were toast. They thought they had no chance. They made out like a bandit.
They cashed in. So 27-9 awkward score here in this football game. As we mentioned, in-game total 50.5. So Scott, the steamroller with us just for a couple more moments, says he likes the Chiefs. And for the record, he's not a Kansas City homer bettor because for the most part, you've bet against them this year.
I've faded them most of the season.
When we've spoken. So you're talking about being intrigued by the Commanders plus 9. The total's 55.5. We have a low total in the Houston KC game, guys, 41.5. And then you get the Showcase Showdown, like the Price is Right. Sunday night, 6:30. They say the best for last, the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Raven game. The Bills opened up as 1.5-point favorites. They're currently sitting at -1. Basically a pick 'em. It's -110 on the money line, so why play at a -1? And then at -105, that's just a weird thing there. And then you got a total of 51.5. Who do you like on the Ravens in the Bills game?
I like the Bills. You give me a home dog like that all day long, man. All day long. Both of these teams have shown some inconsistency over the season, but I like the Bills. I think the Bills have played better football more times than the Ravens have. The part that scares me if I'm a Bills fan is how good this Ravens defense has been over the last 5 weeks of the season, including their first playoff game. They have been absolutely money. Where that was, early in the season, Baltimore was a dead red over team, man. That was just set it and forget it for about the first 9 games. But they've really flipped the switch on that defense, and that's the part. If I'm a Bills fan, that's the part that worries me right there. I think Josh Allen's going to eat. I think he is without question the MVP. And it tells you everything you need to know about this matchup. But the fact, like you said, it's catching the marquee spot there at 6:30 Sunday night. While the Chiefs, the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions,
the first game up,
they're playing the matinee on Saturday. It's people are still coming into the theater by the time that game's over. So everybody wants to see the Jackson and the Josh Allen matchup there, and they're going to get it. It should be a great game, Gabe. I like the under. I think there's going to be a little more defense than people anticipate in this game. And I'm going with the home team there. The Bills team was very, very impressive last time out. I think they've really got it rolling at the right time. And they're either one of these teams, but I think the Bills, especially as a Chiefs fan, the Bills are the team I want to see the least come into Arrowhead in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's either way. That's going to be another just massive, massive contest with the winner of this game going to Arrowhead after. You're right about the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, the Ravens defense, guys. Earlier in the year, their secondary, for the most part, for like the first half of the season, the secondary was getting lit up. Now, they were winning games, and they were up, so I think it's a little bit deceiving at times when you look at the passing yards allowed. But it was like facts are facts. Like, they were ranked like 30th most of the year, Scott. They were right there with like the Jags and stuff at the bottom of the league with getting, 250 yards here and 240 a game. And like they were really getting killed. But they've tightened that up a lot, like over the last month of the season. Yeah, they were unhealthy. Now they're healthier. They're getting a pass rush. You're right. So the defense is much better now than Baltimore. They're all-around defense. But for me, what worries me is the Buffalo Bills, it's all matchups. Like, we know if the Bills and the Chiefs play, it's going to end up sort of being a track meet. And, we've seen the styles, go head-to-head. Buffalo's one sort of, like, the kryptonite with the Buffalo Bills is mobile quarterbacks, and Lamar is a kryptonite, whatever. Lamar is a problem for anybody, Scott. And And running backs should just run the ball down their throat. Like, you can run the ball right up the middle on Buffalo. And that's a concern for me. Like, Derrick Henry with the Titans always had success. Derrick Henry had success earlier this year against them. Lamar lit us up earlier this year. So that's my concern, that we're going to have to tighten that up. The Steamroller, hitthepick.com. Find them online as well at Steamroller on Twitter X. Always good, Scott. Enjoy the games this week. Hopefully it's Buffalo and KC. We'll catch up next week.
Good luck to your Bills, brother. We'll talk about it. See ya.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
You want to be an expert on sports gaming and take the winning edge with you? There's an app for that. Download the Sports Grid mobile app for gaming strategies and information wherever you go. Aren't you sick of Candy Crush yet? This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Monday Night Meltdown Sports Rage Game Day. Sirius XM Channel 159, Sports Grid on Demand. We're throwing it down. Mick Aussie will join us later. Cam Stewart will rejoin us in a moment or two. Mick Aussie will step up and in. His Denver Broncos eliminated by my Buffalo Bills. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Rams are in control of this football game. Although, they've been stuck on 27. Minnesota did score the last touchdown of the football game. They were down 27-3. They scored the touchdown. They went for 2. They didn't get the 2. I get why they did, but you could have just made it 27-10 and been down 17 as well, right? It just kind of, well, whatever. You know what I mean? They haven't scored, so they figured, we'll go for 2, go for 2. We got to try to get as many points as we can up on the board. Because, think about it. Do you have a better chance of scoring? You know what I mean? You got to score 2 touchdowns and 2 points and get the 2 times to get 16. I've never seen that before. Nobody ever pulls it off in the perfect world. So you're almost just saying, you know what? We need 2 touchdowns and a field goal, guys, right, in this game. So let's just cut it to 17 right now, because now, whatever, you're down by 18. Right now, the 2 touchdowns. Now you need 3 touchdowns. So I don't agree for going for the 2. But listen, Kevin O'Connell is a really, really good coach, but he's rattled right now. They got their ass handed them last week. So you see this, right? It's sort of like a bettor on tilt. Like, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that. So, when a team hasn't scored or they're getting frustrated, they're going to say, screw it, we're going to go for it. Right? The Commanders did it last night. Right? It wasn't the right choice. The Commanders just sort of got frustrated a couple of times, said, screw it, we're going for it on 4th down. Once it worked, once it didn't. It did work out for them late in the football game. It didn't work out earlier in the game for them. This total right now, guys, is at 48.5. So it's still just lingering right around the original number. Just fell to actually 46 and a half. And I was going to say, I don't think it's going to be getting a 49 here. So we're going into the fourth quarter now. Cam Stewart's back. We're at 36 points. Listen, 2 touchdowns, gets this thing to 50 and pounds it over the number. 36, 10 points, it stays under. It closed at 47.5. So basically, you're looking for 2 touchdowns here for people looking to the over. And I'm not sure there's going to be 2 touchdowns here, Cam, in this game. But I'm already riding the under 54.5 here. So
I like that. Gabe. But the thing is, sorry, I got my microphone. I hope it's on here. Did I screw it up? Is it? Oh, no, it's there. Okay,
no, you're good.
Oh, thank you, Gabe. Just sounds weird to my headphone. Hawkinson, that was huge, Gabe. He was my guy for the tight ends tonight. That was honestly, I don't think people understand how bad. Like, the guy caught the ball on his hip, and that was a great play by Hawkinson. But you're right. You're down so many points. Sometimes when you're down by a million, you're like, oh, we need 2. And I understand it's 3, but now you're in a situation, it's 18. I'm not sure if we're going to get there, Gabe. I think the Rams are going to try to run the ball with Kyron Williams and try to extend the game. And as for the Vikings, asking them to march the field, it's a lot to ask. That was a beautiful drive there, but mostly because the receivers made good plays there. I don't know if it's going to get there. The books usually, they're hanging a 46.5 game. We have a quarter of football left. So what are you thinking? Do you understand? Usually the algorithm would make it, I'm thinking 48.5, 47.5. We've been betting a long time. The fact that it's 46.5, they're feeling Vikings screw up, Rams run. That's kind of the way I'm looking at the algorithm right now.
Well, the Rams are going to be conservative. As this game goes on, they're into hang on mode now, right? Mm-hmm. They were a little bit aggressive earlier. They've eased up a little bit here now. They do have a 3-score lead. That's why the missed 2 is, like I said, there's a big difference between 17 and 18 now, right? I mean, now they basically need 3 touchdowns to beat them. So if you're the Rams, you're thinking, all right, you're not fully safe yet, but you're getting pretty close. They'd like to put another field goal on the board, Cam. You make it 30 to, you're up by 21 then. You know what I mean? You're up by 21 with 10 minutes left. So I'm sure that's the Rams' thought process. Get the ball back if we score a field goal. But the Vikings have the ball now. We'll see what happens on this drive. They got a 2nd and 10 on their own 15-yard line. This is pretty much the football game here, guys. And this is the first time. Wow. Sam Darnold needs was under duress, and Sam Darnold just took off and picked up a massive play. But there's a flag on the play. If this is going to come back, that's too bad for Minnesota. But is this holding, or are they going to call this for on the Rams for trying to smoke Darnold when he slid?
Oh, yeah, you're ahead of me. I just saw that there, man. He just literally almost got killed there. Wow. O'Neill's down.
Sam Darnold, nice play from Darnold. Basically, that was the nicest play that Darnold's made in a couple of weeks. He's been under pressure. He took off, and he picked up 15, 20 yards. It was a nice play. Like I said, the game's pretty much on the line for them right now. Let's be real. They could potentially cut. They score a touchdown here, things will start to get a little bit more interesting, but they got a lot of work to do.
The bottom line
is, Cam, they didn't call the penalty, though, on the Rams for hitting Darnold because it was legal. He got smoked, but Buddy took off, before kind of at the right time, and he really didn't hit Darnold. He just sort of tried to kill him.
That's the thing.
You look, the penalty is actually on the Rams. I think was it Verse?
Yeah, it was a head to their offensive lineman. It was a helmet to
Verse
helmet.
Just basically smoked someone in the head on the Vikings too.
And I agree with you. I'm watching this Darnold play again. What do you do as a DB? This is the thing that NFL has to address. And me and you have been on this way before anybody else. The guy's sliding down. What do you want the defender to do? He's already there. The thing is, you're going to go into him because the guy's sliding. It's just one of those unfortunate plays, Gabe. It's a lot of the time, it's always benefit to the offense rather than the defense. And if a guy slides into you and you hit him, well, that's life. You got to tell the quarterbacks to slide differently, but that's not going to happen. But I'm with you. Darnold looked great on that run. You could tell he's desperate. The bottom line is this: even a field goal, say the Vikings, it goes 27-12. That's 2 possessions. A touchdown, it's still 2 possessions. Even if they like,
yeah, but
it's no, but I'm saying it's 27-16 rather than
no.
You know what I'm
even
saying?
A field goal, that is big for them. You got it to 12, but the
they
thing
got a whole
is,
quarter.
They won't though. This is going to be touchdown or bust, right? You're thinking of the 3 at the back end of it. You know what I'm saying? You're thinking of the 3 at the back end, but it's a good point. You got to get 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns, 1 extra, 2 touchdowns, 1 2-point conversion, and a field goal camp. That's all they need.
18. That's the whole thing.
Hey, for the Vikings, that's what O'Connell could tell them right now.
That's the thing about O'Connell.
Right, guys, listen. We just need 2 touchdowns. We need to convert 1 2-point conversion, and we got to count on Reichert here to make a damn kick, and we're going to win this game. Trust me.
But me and you've told, that's the whole thing. If people have been listening to the broadcast, me and Gabe say, don't panic, whatever. And now this 18, think about all the times that they were panicking and stuff. Like, it's 18, could have been 15, could have been whatever. It's still a 3-possession game if you're Minnesota. A field goal makes it a 2-possession game, touchdown, 2-point conversion, a touchdown. It's almost
but they get caught up.
16.
Like I said, they get caught up in the moment where it's like we haven't scored all day. They look at the scoreboard and they see 27, and then they just start thinking of the math. They're like, you know what? We got to just score 8 every time. We're going to go for 2 from here on out and try to rack up 8, 8, 8. But it could backfire. Anyways, it's all trivial right now. 17-18. Either way, they're down by a lot of points. But they do have the football. They do have the football. Like I said, that was a violent play. This offensive lineman has only just got up right now. The Vikings first down on their own 45-yard line. Nearly a big play down the field. They just went to Addison, but Darnold couldn't get it. Couldn't get it there. So the Vikings are getting into desperation mode in this football game. I only bet this game tonight. I was looking at some college basketball earlier, and I was thinking about pulling the trigger on, but I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to focus on this game and maybe later, late night. But we do have a hockey game, and we're already into the second period. Super low scoring. We'll hit this on the other side. The LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers in action. After a big win for the Vancouver Canucks. Easy game against those Toronto Maple Leafs on Saturday.
Easy win, Vancouver.
We're relentless. We'll never stop giving you sports gaming strategies and information whenever you want it.
We're kind of nutty about it, actually.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channel dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Money Line.
The more he lost, the more he cheated. The more organizational changes at Michigan that he made. He'll do the same thing with the Chargers. You need a coach that's willing to put your team on the edge to win a championship, and Harbaugh's going to do that. I'm buying the Chargers' future because they got a coach that will do whatever he can to win a championship, which includes cheat all the way there.
Catch Money Line with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. You've got enough going on in your life without having to drown in stats, averages, probabilities, and injury reports.
That's our job. Your job is to just sit there and listen.
Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, we're rolling along here. The Monday Night Meltdown. This is Sports Rage Game Day edition, as we only have one more of these left. Next Monday, the national championship, the football game. So we got one more left, and down goes Darnold, actually, at midfield. That's a big-time loss right there.
Oh, man.
That pretty much kills the drive. You know what? It's 4th and forever. This is going to hurt the total here. I guess they're going to punt, but I would go for it even.
I agree. Now it's 3 possessions. You have to go for it now.
They're punting.
But, oh, boy.
It's 4th and 21.
Yeah.
You're down by 18, coach, with 11 minutes left. You know what I mean? At some point, you're going to have to say, well, this is it. After this, you got to go for it all the time. But, it's 4th and 21, Cam, so I get his thought process. But me, I'm thinking, you know what I would do? I would just say, listen, you throw it down the field, and players never bat it down now. They'll always intercept it anyways. So I would just throw it down the field, heave it, hope for the best, and if it gets intercepted, it's like a punt, right? Because either way, you're screwed. I get his thought process. All right, we're going to pin them. There's still 11 and a half minutes left, and they are going to pin them here. It's up to the Vikings defense. If the Vikings defense can get a quick 3-and-out stop, then it was worth the punt. But, the 4th and 21 killed it, so I'm not going to criticize him for not going for it. The sack was just a big time. They've been sacked 7 times. The Vikings have allowed 7 sacks tonight, and that's not on Sam Darnold. That's on the offensive line. The Rams D-line is just owning them. They're just,
I'm going to tell you, Gabe,
absolutely lighting them up.
As a Seahawk fan, Niner fan, and Arizona fan, watching these guys, we've talked about this all year. Nobody drafted better. All these guys the Rams drafted, like Turner, every other guy, above average. They had a draft like Seattle had when they had Richard Sherman in the 6th round and stuff. When we got good, this Rams draft is special. They got Fisk, Burst, all these other guys. Every round I'm looking going, these guys are contributing. I look at other teams' draft, not on the roster, they did a brilliant job, Gabe. Whatever they did, this is one of the best drafts ever, and that's bad news for everybody else in the NFC West. Now they can spend their money in other areas, right? That's the whole thing. Dangerous.
Yeah, no, the Rams are a very well-run organization. They're always dangerous. Even when they're in rebuild mode, they're still dangerous right now, and they are just sort of retooling. The big question will be, what's next after Matt Stafford, right? I mean, Stafford, it's all about the quarterback, and they've got a veteran quarterback that's played better than even they thought he was going to play. I mean, when they brought him in to win the Super Bowl, he didn't play well, actually. He wasn't playing great for them. They did end up winning the Super Bowl, and they kind of won on their defense and Aaron Donald and stuff, but Stafford made enough plays. And they kind of put it out there that, they were there was a thought that they would trade him, that they were open, because it was dear God, this guy, we owe him $98 million, or it was even more. It's they owed him a ton of money. And Stafford even kidded, you guys aren't going to get rid of me. I'm not retiring. Ha, ha, ha. His wife is never going to let Stafford retire either. He's going to be the quarterback at any given Sunday. The wife's going to be mad and say, you're going to play until, you can't play, type thing.
We're not making enough money with this legal will kit. More.
Yeah, so, they're trying to rack up the dollars. So Stafford, even the Rams thought, we wonder, after he won the Super Bowl, where's this going now? And they've been shocked. I mean, the guy plays elite football, so he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. Ironically, Jared Goff, so is Jared Goff that they traded, right? Jared Goff is playing at a high level too, but you got to give credit to Stafford. And the Rams are putting the finishing touches on this football game right now. Kieran Williams just popped a big run. Oh, but there's a late flag on the play. See, whatever that penalty is was super stupid of the Rams because it came kind of late on the play. It's going to set the play back here, and Williams had already popped it, but this game is close to being done. And, like I said, Cam, it was 4th and 21. I get it. You're kind of screwed. You're like, God, how the hell are we going to pick up a 4th and 21? But whatever, dude. You punted the ball to them, and what are the Rams doing right now? They're running the ball down your throat. They've moved the ball to midfield already on you, basically. You were kind of screwed anyways. You know what I mean? That's why I said if you're the Vikings, you have to go for it there.
We're not rocket scientists, Gabe, but if the Rams kick a field goal, it's a 21-point game, and before whatever, it was still 3 possessions. So if you're O'Connell and those guys, you go, okay, it's a 3-possession game either way. We give the ball back. So I would rather do what you did and put up the ball, and hopefully you get a pass interference call, maybe a miracle catch or something. So it's just one of those things. It's kind of like a fight. I'd rather get a couple shots before we're going down. But yeah, this is all, it's over but the crying, buddy.
Yeah, my under 54. I came close. I had the right concept for this with the under, but I pushed my luck with the under 9.5 and under 23.5. I got burnt. They scored 10 in the first, and then they scored the late touchdown to get to 27. And now if you're the Rams too, the Eagles did this yesterday to the Green Bay Packers, where the Eagles had the ball with like 6-7 minutes left, 8 minutes, whatever it was. It was frustrating because I was on the Packers, and they kept on getting penalties. Like they would pop a big play and it'd be a penalty and it would come back. And then they would pick up 10, 15 yards again. And then there would be a penalty and it would come back again. And it's like right now, this is what the Rams are doing to the Vikings. And if you're the Vikings, it's like, yeah, all right. You know what? They're in a 1st and 26 right now. That's what the Rams are in. They're in a 1st and 26. But they just ate like 2 minutes off the clock with these 2 plays of nothing.
That's my.
And now they're in a 1st and 26, and they're just going to hand the football off and eat up another 3-4 minutes. So it's the penalties aren't even helping you. They just got another penalty, the Rams. They're almost doing it deliberately.
No, Gabe. The funny thing is, they are, because that's the whole thing is people don't understand this stuff. The clock is the only thing that is the enemy, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those situations where, and you bring up a great point. People aren't even talking about this stuff with the Packers game. The clock still runs after that play and you have the penalty. It's not like it stops and go, because there's a penalty, we're going to put time back on the clock. The play still exists and runs. And that's another thing. Like, these smart coaches figure it out. It's like, take a look at the clock. It doesn't matter. The Rams are like, you guys are down 18 points. That's 3, not 2.
Dan Lanning actually really did it this year to Ohio State. He screwed them over. He deliberately got a penalty late in the game to take 5 seconds off the clock. And it worked. Ohio State were pissed. They wanted the rule changed after the fact. But the Rams don't care about scoring, so they don't care if they're in 2nd and 29 and it takes.
Now you've done it. You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my 2nd DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
You found it. Sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The winning edge. Right here, right now, all the time. All you can eat. Some have even used the word incessant. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Monday Night Meltdown, Sports Rage Game Day. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM, Channel 159, Sports Grid on demand on YouTube. And we'll be on for the championship game next Monday night, as they really, really take too long for this college football stuff. And I get it. There's a Monday night game tonight, whatever, dude. So they played Thursday and Friday, but they put themselves in that situation. So they need to wait now. They're not going to go up against the NFL and these big NFL games, so they need to wait till Monday. But they got to address this. People lose interest. Like, unless you're an Ohio State fan or a Notre Dame fan, do you really care anymore? Like, it takes so long. Like, this stuff used to be over on January 1st. Then it was over on January 9th. Now it's over on January 20th. Like, and now they're going to add 16 teams in 2 years. And then whatever, dude. Like, it'll be like February 1st, the college football. Like, it never ends, this stuff. They drag it out too long. But for the record, the college football national championship game, the point spreads come down a little bit. They were dangling 9s out there originally. The numbers come down to 8. Ohio State Buckeyes favored by 8 points, total 45.5. It's a 27-9 for the Rams, 7.5 minutes left. The in-game total down to 42.5. Matthias, your LA Clippers are in action tonight. So games have resumed in Los Angeles, ironically enough, after they're playing a football game on the road tonight. But you got the Miami Heat up right now, up a 10 spot on the Clippers. The Clippers are still minus 4.5 point favorites. Are you watching this game at all? What's going on here in this game?
I'm not watching it yet, Gabe, but I'm on Kawhi Leonard to score at least 2 3-pointers in the game, and Norm Powell to have at least 4 3-pointers in the game. That's what I'm on. You know what I mean? He's hot. He's been hot, so that's what I'm playing with. And also, Duncan Robinson, go blue, 2 3-pointers in the game at minus 150.
So this is a crazy number, though. Eh? So there's no obviously, Jimmy Butler's not playing. They don't want him, and he doesn't want them, etc. He's suspended, but there's no Bam Adebayo tonight either. Because I'm like, why the hell? I'm looking here. I'm like, why are the Heat up by 10, but the Clippers are still 4.5 point favorites in this game? And, so the Heat are really shorthanded tonight, but we see this often in the NBA. Other players step up. And I'm not the biggest Tyler Hero fan, but I'll give him credit. Like, when no one else is around, the kid does score. So his in-game prop is 26.5. He's got 8 points. And there's still 3 minutes left in the first quarter, so he's off and running.
Gabe, Clippers have lost 4 out of the last 5 games. They haven't been playing good basketball to begin with.
Since Kawhi came back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Since Kawhi, even the game or 2 before Kawhi came back.
And then he missed, too. I know he missed, too.
They've been hot all season long. You know what I mean?
I think they were overachieving early. They were overachieving early, right? They weren't their record was better than they kind of were. And now Kawhi comes back. The schedule
they get used
gets
to
harder.
playing without him. They get used to, we've talked about this a million times. They get used to playing without Kawhi. Then he comes back and it's like, oh, Kawhi's back. And then it kind of screws up things for a bit. They'll get it right, but don't you agree? Like, you come back, it's not this, like, they've been used to playing without him.
Well, it changes the rhythm a little bit for sure. But he came back and then he missed. He came back for 2 games, then he missed the games because of the fire again. Mm-hmm. Right? So he took the time off again. So, they hasn't really gotten into that rhythm yet. Like I said, they were kind of overachieving, but Norm Powell, former Toronto Raptor, has been a consistent scorer for them this year. His prop is 21.5. He's got 3 points right now. So we're early in this game. We'll keep our eye on it. I'm thinking about the Clippers, but I don't want to lay, for the record, too. How about this? Kawhi Leonard's point prop actually is 13.5.
Wow.
Now, I don't know what's his, that's pretty low, Matthias, 13.5 for Kawhi.
Yeah, it is, but how many points has he scored right now? He's on off to a hot start. So,
yeah, we've only played like 8 minutes. For me, it's like, how many minutes is he gonna play, right? Like, how many is he gonna be on the court for? How many minutes? And he's only playing like 20 minutes or so. Like, he hasn't played more. He played 19 minutes and 21 minutes, and they did win the game that he came back in, for the record. So they're 1-1 with him. They're 1-1. They lost 108-106 when he played 21 minutes. And like Matthias said, he hasn't lit it up yet. He scored 8 points in one game and 12 points in the other game. He played 21 minutes and 19 minutes. So I think it's smart from Tyronn Lue to kind of ease him in here into the lineup. I get
it. Gabe. He loves the 3-ball. Whenever he makes
Everybody
a couple
does.
of shot or two, oh man.
Yes.
But even with
NBA.
limited minutes, he's tossing up 5 games.
Yeah, it's true.
Because his knees are shot, bro. He's gonna shoot.
Exactly.
Get Sports Grid on the radio, TV, our mobile app, or the internet. In other words, if you can't hear us, you're the problem. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapalmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Sports Rage tonight.
I don't want to be the guy that says what I saw last, but how the hell do you bet on Sam Darnold going to Los Angeles? I mean, this ghost. This guy lives in a haunted house. He saw some ghosts last night, bro. The Vikings like to blitz the crap out of you. Yeah, good luck blitzing Matt Stafford, because he's never seen a blitz before, right? And they can't change their system. It is what it is.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
These days, what can you really depend on? What's really going to be there for you tomorrow and the next day? We know that trust takes time, and we earn your loyalty every day by giving you the winning edge. Keep it here. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Scumbags! Rage! Sports Rage with Gabe Morency. Rage all you want.
All right, there's under 5 minutes left in the football game. And, one thing about the NFL and all sports, every play, every free throw, everything, every yard means something to somebody out there. It's like it's always happy hour somewhere. All right, somebody's got something. I got Jefferson in game here, but it's not going to happen. They're not throwing him the football. This game is just, there's penalties, they're spinning their wheels, nothing's really happening. But if people bet the over on the teaser, those are, and there's a lot of people out there. There's got to be a couple of 100,000 people out there that have teasers with the Rams teased to the over, thinking, there'll be points tonight, and I'll tease it to the over as well. Hell, normally I would be in that spot. And the total closed at 47.5. So the teasers are at 40.5. Maybe you got a 48, so it's 41, etc. Either way, a touchdown would get you there, right? You need a touchdown from the Vikings here, and/or a late touchdown for the Rams, but the Rams don't have any interest in scoring, so it's up to the Vikings to score a garbage touchdown. And that last play did not help their cause. Sam Darnold just got murdered again. Man, he got lit up on this one. Like, if there's one thing about Darnold, he's getting beat up.
He is.
He's taking some shots. He's taking a lot of shots tonight. He just got tossed to the ground like a rag doll. Seriously, I was a lot of NFL sacks nowadays, they're not that physical. Players are worried about getting penalties, or they're nice guys. They like the quarterback. They just sort of take him down. The Rams are beating up Sam Darnold. They're punishing him. Buddy just took his jersey and just should have whipped him to the ground in one motion. I thought it was going to be a penalty for a second, actually. So yeah, it's a rout. It's, last week they lost 31-9. Now they're losing 27-9. The score really isn't a true indicator of these games. The Lions took the pedal off the metal last week, Cam. The Rams took the pedal off the metal in the third quarter of this game. The Vikings offense is just not a threat. Right? I mean,
I'm
now
surprised,
they're
Gabe. Like,
well, here they go. They're on the 35 right now.
Yeah, it doesn't. What are you going to do? Like the thing is, as I said, the touchdown to field goal, it doesn't matter. It's still a 2-possession game. You can't get it to a 1-possession game with 3:50.
Oh, they're
left. What
done.
they got?
This is,
Yeah,
I'm just talking for people that bet the teaser.
No, teaser. Oh, I got the teaser. I got the
back.
teaser. Yeah, I got the teaser. Like that's the thing. I need bloody miracle here, but we'll see.
That's not a catch, actually. They're going to have to review that. So I just said they got a catch. They didn't get a catch, and they're not reviewing it. They don't have to. As I said, the one thing the NFL is doing in the playoffs now, which I like and I don't like, the NFL has this, they can do it in a regular season, but they only do it for once in a gray and blue moon, is the old unassisted replay. So basically the NFL, head office, the video, like the control, will just tell the ref in the headset, he didn't catch that.
Yep.
Like normally it would be up to the other coach to catch it and say, oh, they didn't catch that. We got to challenge this. Now you don't really have to. But the thing is, then it becomes arbitrary when they actually do it. Like if you're going to do it, then just do it all the time. Like if you guys, it's almost like playing God. You guys say, oh, we can't play God. Those are the rules. No, you do play God because you say, no, we're going to overturn that. Mm-hmm. Like they could have just let that. Now, the game's not on the line now, but they could have just let that go and said, yeah, you know what? They didn't catch it, but it's up to the other team to notice it, right? Which I've always thought was wrong. I've never understood that about the NFL, where they'll sort of be, we're wrong with the call, but you're not allowed to challenge it because you've already challenged something. Or we're wrong with the call, but we're not going to admit it and do anything about it. I'll give them credit. So in these playoffs this weekend, there really haven't been, I don't think there's been one challenge. I don't think a coach has challenged anything because they didn't have to. I mean, hell, even yesterday, Matt LaFleur wanted to challenge something, and the league told him, the ref came over and told him, you don't have to. We're reviewing it on our own. So
well said.
They normally don't do this, but they are now. And the officiating isn't going to be perfect, but my only deal is, though, sometimes don't kick back later in the playoffs if there's some weird play and you guys don't want to get involved. And then it's going to lead to controversy of, you want Mahomes to win or whatnot. So that's my only deal with that. Either do it all the time or it becomes a gray area when you guys are going to do it. But this game is close to a wrap right now. Jefferson got stuck at 5. I was just looking at the stat here on the screen. He lined up against the Rams, 8 different defenders on Jefferson tonight.
And they won.
That's what I was talking about earlier, though, about taking star players out of it. The Rams threw the freaking kitchen sink at Jefferson tonight. The fact that they had 8 different people that defended him tonight, and Jefferson's one of the top, whatever. You could say the best, you know what I mean? There's a handful of guys that are at the top, but Jefferson is one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. And it took 8 players for the Rams to stop him. You know what I mean? And that's good coaching now. So in other words, if they used 8 different players on him, what does that tell you? It tells you that they threw so many different packages at this guy and every different play, because that screws you up. If you're a wide receiver and you got the same defensive back on you, you're gonna figure them out, right? Star wide receivers are gonna know, man. Listen, this guy keeps doing this. I'm gonna trick him. I'm gonna bait him, and I'm gonna do this. It's a lot harder. It's what a good example is, guys. It's like modern baseball right now, right? It's annoying. No one likes it with the pitchers getting taken out all the time and stuff, but it's freaking hard for the hitters when you have a new dude coming in every inning or every 2 innings. You're not used to it. You didn't see him already. The guy knows he's only pitching an inning or 2, so everyone's throwing it 100 miles an hour now, and you're seeing different guys all the time, right? So basically, that's the example here the Rams just used with Jefferson. We're not just going to have a DB on him and, you know what I mean, and hope for the best. We'll throw the freaking kitchen sink at him, frustrate him, confuse him, piss him off, have different people on him, talking smack to him. And here's the result. He's sitting by himself on the bench looking frustrated right now.
I got to be honest, though, Gabe, like, I didn't like the Vikings' body language, and that was very early in the game when the Rams were frustrating them. Look at it still. You're down 18. There was a lot of football left. It's like this game kept on going and going, and they almost tapped out early. Your baseball analogy, I couldn't agree more. Usually there's that one pitcher that they get to, but you're absolutely correct. That's the thing. Like, you keep on throwing different things, bad things happen, and let's give McVay and his staff credit. They had a game plan to stop these guys. They did. And also the Rams' defensive line just ate up. Like, the Vikings' offensive line the last couple of games has been bad. It's not all on Darnold. They've been bad. They've been outplayed. So kudos to the Rams. They dominated them.
Yeah, the Vikings need to retool. They need to regroup. Listen, it was a hell of a year for the Minnesota Vikings. You know, very, very good year, but they got to figure out how to take it to the next level. Problem with the Vikings for next year, if you're a Viking fan, is you're kind of stuck in this quarterback net here of not great quarterbacks, and they're going to be good in the regular season because you're not, they're not playing elite teams every week, and you can win. But like, if you're word is, there's been reports that that the Vikings have told Daniel Jones that they want to keep him. So if they're keeping Daniel Jones, they drafted J.J. McCarthy last year with the 11th pick in the draft, or the 10th pick, or whatever the hell it was. So they just drafted J.J. McCarthy, who they liked in camp, who looked really good in the preseason, but he got hurt. So he hasn't played. So you still have J.J. McCarthy. You're not going to have Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones, and J.J. McCarthy. So Sam Darnold's out, right? Sam Darnold will be the one that's going to be out here. This will be used against them, Cam. Like, even though it's not his fault here, but they're going to say, whatever, we rejuvenated your career. Good luck. Go try to sign a deal elsewhere. So I think Darnold will be the outside guy looking in. But now if you're a Viking fan, like, you want Daniel Jones your quarterback next year? Right? And I said Daniel Jones isn't bad, but you'll be in the same damn boat. Jones will win some regular season games, and then he'll get his ass handed to him when it matters. Or do they just go with J.J. McCarthy? And then they go with McCarthy, and then if you're a Viking fan, fine, I love J.J., but he's going to be a rookie.
Get the Sports Grid mobile app. Take us to places where the wife would definitely not approve. Not counting the bank. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Are you retired like me, and you just found out you owe the IRS a ton of money? Well, what would your life be like if they took your retirement savings away from you? They can do it, and your property. If you owe the IRS back taxes or you haven't filed in a while, the Tax Relief Line is here to help you. They can stop the IRS from taking your retirement savings. If you qualify, you could have your tax bill reduced to zero. That's right, if you're retired and you owe the IRS a lot in back taxes, you could have your entire tax bill reduced to zero due. The IRS has now hired thousands of new employees, so they're ready to come after you. Don't let them take your retirement savings or property. Make this free call now.
800-590-4933. 800-590-4933. 800-590-4933. That's 800-590-4933.
Carver and Lisi.
Hey, you and Matthias have it all figured out. You're all giggles. Hey, Matthias, it's me and you. Lisi's not here every week. It's me and you, Matthias. Whatever you say.
You haven't been around.
We'll bet Penn State. Yeah. All giggles.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. On the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. When you're a Sports Grid listener, you have an advantage. We bring you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7. We call it the winning edge. Everybody else calls it Stop messing around. Get the winning edge. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the Pistol Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. The Los Angeles Rams taking down the Minnesota Vikings, and they're putting the finishing touches on this football game. Under 2 minutes remaining right now. 27-9 for the Rams. Another under. This game is short of a miracle. This game is going to be going on to the number 6 NFL playoff games, and only one of them. Oh. Well, Darnold can throw it deep, as he just showed on this last play. Darnold just heaved one, man, like 60, 70 yards through the air. Addison dropped it. It was actually a good catch. There it is. He had it, and he dropped it.
Good throw. Yep,
That's on Addison. Sam Darnold, just threw a bomb on the money, and he got lit up at the end of it. So, one thing no one can question Sam Darnold's toughness. He's sitting in the pocket. He's getting lit the F up. And people are going to bury him and stuff, guys. The offensive line got murdered. They're not tackling on defense. It's not just Sam Darnold didn't just lose to the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams in the last 2 weeks, right? The Minnesota Vikings lost. Not just Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? But we're living in an era right now, whatever, and Darnold's an easy pinata. He's easy prey to pick on. But the whole thing was just a collapse and a meltdown. But like I said, it's not new. I learned my lesson last week, Cam. I never, the Vikings, I thought they were good in the regular season. I bet on them quite a bit. And then they got into that Detroit game last week, and that was probably one of the stupidest and worst bets that I've ever made. Only getting 3 points, taking the Minnesota Vikings against the Lions. I just got cute and stupid. And I talked about it a million times after that and during that game, that my whole life, I have nothing but memories of the Vikings, letting me down, screwing me when I bet on them in a big game. They don't win big games. And past failures shouldn't come into play here, right, with teams, but it does carry over. It does. If you're the Vikings, I know, because the Buffalo Bills, it carries over. The Toronto Maple Leafs, it carries over. There's certain teams where past failures of the team, it builds and it builds and it builds and it grows on teams, right? And, because a lot of, players haven't been, if you're on the Buffalo Bills now, let's say you've been in the league, Keon Coleman's he's a rookie in the league. What the hell does he have to do? He probably wasn't even born when he was barely born when the Bills lost the Super Bowls. He has nothing to do with the Bills, you know what I mean? Same thing, Austin Matthews and the Leafs and Marner get mad about it often. Right? When they're we weren't on the team in the 70s and 80s and 90s, hey guys? When people are oh, you guys haven't won since 67. And Matthews goes, no, I've been here 6 years or whatever. Right? And it builds up. And fans get frustrated. I remember, I admit it. And I think he's a funny guy on TV cam and stuff, but I didn't like Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was the quarterback of the Bills. And I used to all my anger of all the Bills' frustrations would come out on him. I freaking Fitzpatrick. JP Lossman got it with the Bills.
You're right.
There's certain people, and it's going to happen, right? But the thing is, you own it. And Josh Allen, Josh Allen knows. Listen, Josh Allen, you don't think Josh Allen understands that people in Buffalo would take years off their life to win a Super Bowl? He hears it when he goes out to the grocery store. He can't step foot anywhere. He sees all these people devotedly waiting for them at the airport, even after tough losses. He knows what it means. So it creates a lot of pressure on these teams, right? A good example, if you're the LA Rams, guys, nobody cares. If you're in LA, ask Matthias. There's pressure on the Lakers. There's pressure on the Dodgers. You know what I mean? If the Rams have a good year, fine. If they don't, no one's firing Sean McVay. No one's ripping Sean McVay. You know what I mean? It's not the same. If the Rams on the street, no one will know who they are for the most part or care, because it'll be yeah, whatever. There's a guy in the Rams, but whatever. There's Richard Gere. You know what I mean? There's always a bigger star in LA in the room. So, you're not known. There's no pressure on you. Right? You're not carrying the weight of this big city and franchise and all past failures and all this. Minnesota, Cam, these guys feel it. The Minnesota Vikings are by far the most popular team in Minnesota. So, they feel the sort of past failures, and it sort of builds up, and then you see it implodes on these teams. That's what happens.
You're absolutely correct. That was amazingly said. And that's the thing. The thing I like about Allen too, Gabe, with Buffalo is he's a very, like, every time I hear him in a press conference, he's down to earth, he's real, and he's also like very like forthright in what he says. Like, and everything is just about the team. And it's really interesting when you watch Buffalo. Denver scores early in that game, and and people are thinking, here we go. And it was a different vibe. It's like the Bills are calm, they're fine. And then after that, they just murdered these guys. And you talked about Peyton being a good coach early, and I totally agree with you. But there's a different vibe around it because it's just one of those things that I think he's taken the team, and he's very calm in his ways. And he's actually like, it's weird. He has this Zen-like type of ability to do a lot of these things, even though he's a badass and a hardcore competitor. It's a different vibe around that team. When you watch Minnesota, that same vibe exists. If you get where I'm kind of coming from, like, it just feels very different with Buffalo right now, in my opinion.
Well, Josh Allen isn't Sam Darnold. That's the big difference. So if you're on the Bills, you have confidence. They're like, hey, we have Josh Allen, and the other team doesn't.
You know what I mean? Though, like, as a Bills fan, like, you feel the vibe.
No, but the Bills,
like, you know,
the Bills as a whole, they do have a different edge to them this year. And I've talked about it. You could catch it even in the offseason, early in the season, but you can't tell if it's lip service or not. But they have been very even-keeled this year. Eyes on the big prize. But in the same world, people will turn on Josh Allen. Like, if they lose to Baltimore, right, people are going to say Josh Allen can't win a big game. All right, people are going to want Sean McDermott fired. Like, this is the world that we're in right now, and the bigger the stakes of the game, and the bigger the criticism comes after, right? Like, it's a massive game for the Buffalo Bill organization because, I don't want to look ahead, but if they can get past this game, I think they can go into KC and finally slay the dragon. Lamar Jackson's just a human video game, though.
I know.
Man, he's hard to stop. And so is Derek freaking Henry.
When did life get so complicated? Just a few years ago, you only worried about what toy to ask for at Christmas. Now, only we get you. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Football Full Circle.
Dallas Cowboys is like the New York Giants. They're a polarizing organization, but I'll throw out potentially 3 names that I believe will be mentioned in terms of this gig. I told you Kellen Moore. How about Deion Sanders potentially to Big D? If anybody loves Jerry Jones and vice versa, it's Deion. And how about John Gruden?
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network. The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974, Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
You don't have to listen to Sports Grid. You can always go to a horse stable, find one with shoes, pry one off, and hang it over your door. Or you can get the winning edge right here. And you won't take a hoof to the head. No! This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
All right, we're rolling. The Monday Night Meltdown. Level 4 continues. Man, we've done a lot of these 4 and 5 hour shows over the holidays between the college football games, the NFL playoff games. Although I will say last night's Sunday night game between the Bucs and the Commanders was a super fast game. Like it ended like at basically 11 o'clock Eastern time. Like it was one of the fastest games of the season, if not the fastest game of the season. All right, Mick Ossie's on deck, ready to step up. And then next, the Buffalo Bills punched his Denver Broncos in the mouth yesterday. But as I was saying, there's a ton of pressure on both these football teams, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, coming into this game. And both quarterbacks. Forget about the MVP stuff, all right, because nobody really cares. Like, besides whatever, the players themselves and their agents, due to the bonuses and etc. But, Josh Allen, as good as he's been, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills haven't even, they haven't made it to a Super Bowl. Right? The Bills haven't made it to a Super Bowl. They haven't even made it to the conference championship game. People if you think about it, people think that the Chief game and the Bills, that wasn't to go to the Super Bowl. That game, the wild game, the 35-31, whatever in the overtime, the 38-35, whatever the hell it was. When they scored with 13 seconds left, that was just a divisional round game. Josh Allen's never won a road playoff game. It's pretty wild, right? So he's going to have to there's a lot of little things in the way for the Buffalo Bills here to get to the conference championship game, to win the conference championship game, to win on the road. If you think about it too, the Bills, they lost. If you look at their road games, you'd be like, really? He's never won a road playoff game. No. The Bills usually have home field for the first couple of games, and then they'll lose after, or they'll just lose on their home field, right? Or in the early days, the Bills lost to the Houston Texans in the playoffs. They lost to the Jags in the playoffs on the road, off the top of my head. We lost to the Bengals in the playoffs last year. We lost to the Bengals. Didn't we lose to the Bengals with the Hamlin stuff, too? In the COVID year or whatever? Like I said, I don't want to think about the negative. The Bills have lost a lot of playoff games, all right? One way or another, to whoever the hell it is. They've managed to lose the playoff games. So there's pressure on Sean McDermott, right? The Buffalo Bills are one of these teams that it's tough. It's a tough spot to be in when you're one of the better teams in the league and you don't win, right? You see this with a lot of teams. Like I said, the Toronto Maple Leafs are a classic example of it, right? They're one of the better teams in the league every year, but they don't win in the playoffs. And you're in a tough spot when you're like that. So what do? You're like, we can't get over the hump, but we're too good to blow it up, right? It's a tough spot to be in. It gets frustrating for teams. I actually think it's better not to break it up and just keep fighting through with the same team, and eventually you'll break through. But it's such an impatient world that we're in right now. So, the Buffalo Bills have had a great team for years. McDermott, they've won 7. They're in the playoffs 7 of the last years. Allen's done it all in the NFL. Stat-wise, he's hot girl, hot wife now, whatever. 100 millionaire. He's got it all, but he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. And the Buffalo Bills have never won the Super Bowl. Then you look at Lamar Jackson. Baltimore have a pedigree of winning. Baltimore have a couple of Super Bowls, right? I mean, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, similar situation. Looks like he's going to win the MVP. The All-Pro and the MVP are the same voters, and it's always the same winner. So it looks like Lamar is going to win the MVP. He's already won it a couple of times. So it doesn't really matter. Who cares? Lamar Jackson's under a lot of pressure here. Right? Lamar's going to get called out. They don't win. Oh, Lamar can't win in the playoffs. Oh, yeah, who cares that it be Pittsburgh, but he can't win in the playoffs. It's a cold world because both Baltimore and Buffalo, it kind of sucks that they have to play each other this early in the playoffs, but it is what it is due to the playoff seedings, right? The standings. You got to earn it. But the loser of this game is going to be heavily criticized. Right? No, it's just it's the nature of the beast. Lamar will get called out for not being able to win a big game, or Josh Allen's going to get called out. And they're going to call out McDermott and Buffalo as a whole, and you got to blow it up and blah, 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 and all that. We got a point spread for the Rams and the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Los Angeles Rams. This game is Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern. The Eagles are 6-point favorites in the game. Eagles are 6-point favorites. Surprised it's not a little bit more. I think the advanced number was 6.5. So, I mean, it's actually a little lighter. I figure it probably would have been 7.5, but it's a 6. Eagles -6. The total is 44. Buffalo are minus, it's a pick. Minus 110 on the money. Mick Aussie next.
Sports Grid is available on the radio, internet, TV, satellite, and our mobile app. If you're not getting it, ask the nerdy kid next door. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steel Man Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
You may or may not be a good Sports Grid listener. If you've ever looked around to see if anyone's watching before you tear the Do Not Remove tag off your mattress, you may not be a good Sports Grid listener. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Sports Rage game day, although the game is done. The Los Angeles Rams disposed of the Minnesota Vikings, and 27-9 was the final score. Very similar to last week's game, actually. Although, I don't know. Last week sort of felt worse against Detroit. It was just, it was like a bloodbath, and Detroit took the pedal off the metal, and they won 31-9. And the score, it was, it was a bigger beating than that, actually. And tonight, too, 27-9. It sort of sounds close a little bit. It's like, oh, were they kind of in it? No, they weren't in it. They were down early, and they never really they scored they scored one touchdown. You're not going to win a playoff game scoring one touchdown. They scored one touchdown, and then they went for two, and they didn't get the two, and they didn't score again. Sam Darnold ended up 25 of 40 for 245. Anyways, we got Mick Aussie in the house now. The Denver Broncos season came to an end yesterday. Let me ask you, Mick. After the opening touchdown, the quick touchdown on the fourth play of the game for the Denver Broncos yesterday, were you feeling pretty good about things? At least briefly for a minute or so? Because I got to tell you, as a Bills fan, I really wasn't worried. I tweeted out, I said, Sean Payton scripted this. He outthought Sean McDermott on the first drive, but after that, it'll even out. And it did. The Bills just crushed them as the game went on, but it was still a good year for the Broncos.
Well, I'm glad you asked me that because you tweeted that Payton would outcoach McDermott. Well, I think Payton's coaching effort was absolutely pitiful yesterday. The only way you were going to beat the Bills is to get up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, get them nervous, and then sure they might come up. First drive touchdown, and then what did he do? Play conservative, run. We got 3 average running backs. We couldn't run the ball. You guys, McDermott stuck to his plan of run between Cook And Alan, you guys destroyed us. He stuck to the plan. We missed that field goal at the half. That was not good. But yes, bad coaching by Sean Payton. Disgraceful, mate. Too conservative. And it was a boring, boring game. And I don't mind a good defensive battle, but that was a boring game, mate. We had to go for it. Touchdown first drive and then nothing. Couple of drop passes by Sutton and a couple of other players. Like I said, the nerves, but I blame Sean Payton, mate. Terrible coaching. Stuff him.
Yeah, you know what, though? I didn't say that he was going to out-coach McDermott. I said that the opening game script would out-coach McDermott.
Okay.
Right, that's what I said. The opening game script, right? I mean, the first plays of these games are scripted, right? I mean, the drive, it wasn't like they don't make up the second and third play of the game on the fly. Like, they practice like 20 plays, you know what I mean, 15, 20 plays over and over and over during the week, knowing this is what we're going to open up the game with. And we're going to attack them like this, or we're going to try to surprise them like this. We're going to do this or that. And I knew. That was my fear. And I even told people. That was why, Mick, I said before the game, I said, I'm not surprised Sean Payton's going to script the first few plays. He had something up his sleeve. But once the game goes on, if you don't have the better team, you're screwed. You know what I mean? You can't script the entire game. You can script the first 5-7 plays of a game. You can't, once the game starts going, you're right. They got conservative. It was like he just knew they were going to lose, and he tapped out, kind of, to be honest. He was like, we're not coming back, so let's just run the ball.
Yeah, and you got Bo Nix all week saying we can go in there and play loose. We got nothing to lose. Well, when you got a good quarterback, let him throw more because our running backs are average. They reckon Payton doesn't like any of the running backs. They might go for someone real good at running back next year. We need linebackers. Our linebacking crew was no good. We'll get Singleton back from Calgary, so he's good. But tight ends, wide receivers, linebacker, that's what we need. And we had $90 million in dead cap money. How disgraceful was that? So we got to be happy. But, yeah, terrible coaching yesterday. But congratulations, mate. You were the way better team. I'll admit that.
Well, now, you know what, I wasn't. Now we got to worry about the Baltimore Ravens because the Ravens are a lot better than the Denver Broncos are. What's your pick, Mick? The Bills or the Baltimore Ravens? The game is a pick 'em.
Well, now that Broncos are out, I'll be on Von Miller with your Bills. I saw he had a few plays yesterday. I think it's straight out to me. Again, home field pick. I'll go for the Bills to win. I hope they get to the Super Bowl. We do have to worry about the two runners for their team, Lamar and Henry. At least Henry's lighter this year. Now he's got rid of that raccoon out of his helmet, so he is very, very dangerous. And I think Allen should be MVP because Lamar has more weapons. He has Henry with him. So I think Allen was MVP, but whatever. But no, real good game. Home field pick for me, and I hope they win.
Yeah, well, this is why it's also dumb, too, that they also, I guess it's separate, but, if everyone's debating who the MVP is between these two, let them play. And we can sort of see on Sunday, but they already got the votes in. You know what I mean? It's the regular season. What happens now in the playoffs is irrelevant, but it looks like Lamar's going to win because like 90% of the time, whoever gets the all-pro vote gets the MVP vote. And it's the exact same media people that vote. So it appears it's almost like the Golden Globes and the Oscars. Whoever wins the Golden Globe is going to win the Oscar. So seems like it's a done deal. Rams are getting 6 against the Eagles. Eagles won yesterday, Mick, but their offense wasn't great. What's your pick here? Do you think the Rams have a shot in Philadelphia?
Oh, I absolutely hope so, and I did. I just checked that too. 6 points. I'll take the Rams with the 6, and I'll go for a roughie here. I'll go for the Rams to win. Those Eagles, they're undisciplined. Packers were terrible yesterday. They couldn't tackle. It's had 7 seconds. Those D linemen for the Packers looked like they weren't trying. Packers had injuries everywhere. Eagles couldn't destroy them. How's those Eagles fans, mate? They were booing the Eagles into the third quarter. They are absolute shockers. A.J. Brown reading a book on the sidelines that made the CTV news tonight. They're undisciplined, mate. Their coach is a nutcase. Their crowd, their fans are the worst in sports. I hope the Rams beat them. Hope it's close at least.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for the Rams. Plus, they're playing on a short week. You got to play Monday. Now you got to go on the road to the East Coast, play on a Sunday afternoon. At least it's at 3 o'clock. It's not fully early, but still, it's not an ideal situation for the Rams. Feels to me like the Eagles and the Detroit Lions are on a collision course. In the same way, I sort of thought that the Bills and the Chiefs were on a collision course, but now the Ravens are in the way there. What's your pick for the Commanders and Lions? The Lions are 9-point favorites, Mick, over the Commanders.
Oh, mate. See, there was one decent game on the weekend, wasn't there? It was pretty bad all around. Commanders were good, eh? And what about that guy that had the kicker that just went through? He was lucky to get that through. Bad luck for Baker Mayfield. Good game, but offense for those Lions, mate. They are unbelievable. I'm going to take the Lions on the minus. Hope it's close. It might be close for a while. But that week's rest should make the Lions absolutely more dynamic. Not sure on their injuries on defense. I think they still got quite a few. I'll take the Lions on the money line and probably the minus as well.
What about the Chiefs and Texans? Chiefs are 8-point favorites.
Oh, well, we know the Chiefs are going to win because, well, you know, Roger Goodell, he goes feeding the chooks with Taylor Swift. I reckon there's a secret romance going on there. I really do. The amount of money that the Chiefs make the NFL, they'll get all the favoritism with the rest. Absolutely they will. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy normally, but I am on this one. Hope the Texans keep it close. They probably won't. Herbert had 4 interceptions. He gave them the game, really, didn't he? So Chiefs to win, probably on the minus, but I hope I'm wrong.
And Mick, I want to get you on at 24 instead of 32, so we're going to get you out of here in a minute. It was my bad, but your boy Kyrgios was eliminated, Mick. I know you got. I know you're sad about that. You're just as sad about that as Russell Wilson losing in the playoffs.
Curious, I hope I never see him again. And Scott Farrell for the last 5 weeks saying how bad the Steelers were. That was the most beautiful radio I've heard all week, mate. He goes on before you come on every day saying how bad Wilson and the Steelers were. And it was beautiful radio for the last 5 weeks, how bad the Steelers. I picked that. I said they weren't that good. I got the Vikings wrong.
Sports gaming strategy so strong you can practically power your phone on it. Extend your battery life. Keep it here. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
University of Bristol scientists have found humans working with robots trust them more when their movements are synchronized. Humans and robots work efficiently and actually build trust when the robots mirrored human movements. However, when that trust is damaged by a robot making a mistake, it's a nonverbal early warning sign that when trust between humans and robots is lost, their work together may not be as successful. Follow me at Chicapelmo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The Sports Grid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1974, Super Bowl 8 at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. The Miami Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7, easily covering the 6.5-point spread. Game MVP Larry Zonka rushed for 145 yards, and Miami quarterback Bob Greasy was just 6 of 7 as the Dolphins ran for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Purple People Eaters.
For Sports Grid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Winning is no accident. You gotta be smart about it. It takes a plan. All centered around expert analysis and trusted information. That's what you get. Right here. The winning edge. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Sean McVay doing his post-game press conference right now. Yeah, we played as well as we could. It's been difficult circumstances. This guy's voice is the best. He's got that permanent coach's shot voice. Well, I'm just worried about the safety of everyone, but so he looks happy. He's rocking an LAFD. So a win for the city of Los Angeles, big win. Speaking of which, actually, too, Matthias, you can't let LA down here tonight. The Lakers are playing a home game here tonight, and they're winning right now. The Clippers are down 5 to the Miami Heat. They're minus 1.5 in game right now. The Clippers going to come back and win this game. Man, it's low scoring, 48-43 right now. I'm tempted to click the clip.
It's a tough game, Gabe. They've been playing bad basketball, and they're playing lackadaisical right now. That first half was super slow, super through the motions. It seems like I'm watching a practice.
Quarter.
Well, like Cam said earlier, they bring back Kawhi, and it's like that spark that they've been playing with for the last month and a half isn't there anymore. It's lifeless again. Like I said, it's like isolation basketball. Let's give it to Kawhi on the paint. Let's wait for that double team so he can spin the ball around. It's like, I don't know, man. I like James Harden having control of that basketball, dishing out 10 assists.
That's the thing.
Him drilling 4 threes. It's more exciting and more guys score.
They were happier earlier. Not happier, but that's the whole thing. You're right. Harden is happier Harden's not selfish either, so he'll get other people involved. So Harden will score, but he kicks it out a lot. He sets people up. So other players like playing with Harden. And, you got to play through it. It kind of sucks, but Kawhi's the top dog, and he's back, and you got to get him the ball. And it's all right, he's probably going to miss because he hasn't played, but we got to get him the ball anyways to sort of get the rust off of him. And he's only played 19 and 21 minutes so far. But it is 48-43 for the Heat at the half, and it's 62-53 for the Lakers at the half. But we've got the Australian Open has begun for the overnight, late night degenerate gamblers. You've got tennis going on, which is super cool, and the first Grand Slam major of the season. As far as big matches coming up here tonight, Matthias, I know you got some picks. I don't know if Cam, you've got anything. Our boy El Chapo is playing. He's a 275 favorite, actually.
Wow.
Against Roberto Batista Agut.
Oh, I like, you know what? No offense. Chapo shouldn't be that much of a favorite against that guy. That guy's good.
He shouldn't be that much of a favorite against anybody.
Cam. He's old, though. He can't move those legs anymore, man.
The thing about Chapo is he shouldn't be a 3-1 favorite over Agut. I'm sorry, I don't care how old he is.
Chapo will get through this, though.
Chapo
just needs to calm down. As long as he just keeps his head on his shoulders, he'll be fine. Just play tennis, bro.
What about some matches going on right now? Like Monfils is he's up right now. What about Griekspoor getting 4.5 and Hurkacz? Hurkacz is good, but he's minus 1,000 right now. Anything live that we can sink our teeth into here? Tien and Carabelli? Nothing?
Nothing jumps off the screen at me. I don't know. Look at Medvedev. He's a 750 to 1 favorite. Dear God.
Yeah, that's a
problem. About $750 to win $1 on
maybe the over in Hurkacz and Griekspoor. These guys are going to be playing 7-6, 7-5 matches, even if it goes another
5-4.
one. They both are just.
I like Griekspoor.
They're both great on their service games. They both
but you know what? Hurkacz won the first set 7-5. Now he's up 5-4. So if he wins this, it could be quick, right? Let's take a look at what's coming up tonight, overnight. What's the feature match on TV here coming up tonight?
Well, we have a fun American match. Ben Shelton taking on Brandon Nakashima, back-to-back Americans. I like Nakashima in this underdog role as well, man. This guy hits aces all the time. They know each other. They know each other's game. I think Ben Shelton, great player, makes great runs in majors, but at the same time, he's a young player. I think a little bit overhyped, and I think we're starting to see more holes in his game. And same thing with Nakashima. Nakashima had a lot of holes in his game earlier. He went to the challenger level, got a bunch of wins, and now he's been making a killing now that he's been back on the tour. I think we're going to see a rise in Nakashima in the Australian Open. His offense has been great. And I'm still going to take Musetti over Arnaldi coming up here in about 30 minutes. Musetti's 3-0 against Arnaldi. I think he makes it 4-0. He is a top Italian dog. When you get these guys who have played each other multiple times when they're young, You know, they know each other's game, and Musetti knows how to beat Arnaldi. So I'm not going to bet against that, because once you bet in tennis, you know, when you have a guy's game on lockdown, the other guy's not going to do something special to change. You know what I mean? Unless he has a bad day. But Musetti, he's top notch right here, and I like the price.
What about Opelka versus Maciek? That's an interesting match. Opelka's been pretty good, but he's a dog here. Maciek's minus 240.
I like Maciek, you know. The thing with Opelka, I know he had a great tournament in Adelaide and he beat Djokovic and the whole deal. Well, you know, he got a little injured. He didn't finish the tournament. And his game against, in his first round against Onselin, the kid from Belgium, he lost the first round, and he's just not playing at that same level, I think. You know, it's either serve or bust for this guy. Maciek is great defense, and this is going to go deep. You know, Maciek is going to go back at him the whole entire time. And I don't like Opelka. He's just so weird at the net, Cam and Gabe. Like, this guy has a great serve, but the second that you start playing tennis and you start hitting the ball back and forth, you could tell which guy's the more skilled player. It ain't Opelka. You know what I mean? If it isn't for the serve, it ain't working out.
Diaz, Acosta, and Bergs right now. For the record, it's minus 450 and plus 33.
I'm on Diaz Acosta right now. I liked him beforehand, but he's having a hard time. He's down 3-2 in the first set. Bergs is up 30-0 going into this fourth game. Bergs made a deep run to Adelaide. The kid from Belgium getting real good. Young player really stepping up in this tournament. He made all the way to the finals and lost to Monfils, Gabe. Monfils won the Adelaide Open preseason before this Australian Open. He won another ATP tournament, man. At his age, it's incredible. And you know what? He's playing Petit Picard right now. This highly touted Frenchman kid could serve fast. He looks athletic as hell. I think Monfils is giving him the runaround right now, guys. I think Monfils is actually dancing in the last chapter.
What about my boy,
great.
Stan the Man Wawrinka? He's a pooch against Serengo. I love Stan Wawrinka. Oh, Dave, I love that guy. Like, honestly, he is the grinder of all grinders, Stan Wawrinka. You got to give him respect.
I've got a parlay I'm playing here. Although the odds aren't great, but I think it'll win.
I'll take a winner.
Madison Keys to win against Ann Lee, and El Chapo to win against Roberto Bautista.
Oh, yeah.
Minus 189. Minus 189. Cash it.
Your source for the winning edge. All to make you the sports gaming big dog. Is this a great country or what? This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. The new Sports Grid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the Sports Grid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the Sports Grid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
Sports Grid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on Sports Grid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. Sports Grid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Morency on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find Sports Grid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Money Line.
The more he lost, the more he cheated. The more organizational changes at Michigan that he made. He'll do the same thing with the Chargers. You need a coach that's willing to put your team on the edge to win a championship, and Harbaugh is going to do that. I'm buying the Chargers' future because they got a coach that will do whatever he can to win a championship, which includes cheat all the way there.
Catch Money Line with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
You've heard of smart bombs, smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses. Now you can add smart player, giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Let's roll. All right, we're on. Football's over. We're on to the Australian Open. So looking at the futures here for the women's market, it's not great value, but she's going to win. Sabalenka's going to win, like I believe. Like, she's the best women's player. Like, and on this surface, she's too powerful. Swiatek is really better on that at the French Open. Yeah, she's a French Open. She wins there all the time, like 4 of the last 5 or whatever. You got Coco Gauff. Those are the odds. Sabalenka plus 160. I just say this, guys, because it bothers me all the time before these tournaments. I always look at her odds, and I'm like, man, it's pretty low. I'll just bet her through the tournament. And then she always makes the final, and she's always a big favorite. But what's your pick, Matthias? Australian Open women's future. Who's going to win the tournament? I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going with the chalk. Sabalenka.
No, I like Sabalenka. And like you said, she could power her way to victories. You know, the only person that beats Sabalenka is herself. If she's off.
She's like the modern Serena. Like her with her powerful backstrokes and like her back game and all. You know what I mean? She just smashes the ball, bro. Like, look at her shoulders. She's like a hockey player.
Oh, she's a killer.
Look at her shoulders, that girl. Like, she's wide, bro. Like, she's
she's wild. She's wild too. She's mentally stable, man. Like, she's a strong player. She knows when she's playing bad, but at the same time,
she's a tough Russian chick. She's been through that whole, she's been through a lot. Exactly. She's not very popular with other women either on the tour. She's like, she doesn't have friends really and stuff. That's why she's got that chip on her shoulder.
Griekspoor's getting his ass handed to him. He's not getting to 40 games. Her cats is taking him out to the woodshed here. It's already 2-0. He's up 1-0 in the third. What are you talking about?
This is Griekspoor.
I warned. I said, hey, it's not going over. It's 5-4.
This guy's killing me. After this football game, I need results.
Yeah, that's why I told you, Kevin. We're keeping it simple. You need results. Madison Keys and Shapovalov.
Griekspoor's good. I was in a bad spot, though, but Griekspoor was my guy, Gabe. He got me out of a real problem one day, but that was a long time ago.
Okay, so the men's side, Sinner.
Gabe, Coco Gauff on the women's side, though.
Yeah.
Coco Gauff can make a run.
Yeah, she's not winning. I agree.
She can win. She can do it. She can. And when she does it, she's in a shot. It's like, oh, she did it. She's a lot better than she was last year. I like her.
I think she would lose in the final, though. But put it this way. Put it this way. Sabalenka won't be plus 160 against Gauff in the final. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that could really happen. All right. So the men's side, what's your pick, Cam, for the woman? Actually, what's your woman's pick? Then we get the men's side.
I agree with you. I agree with you guys. You can't. That girl's just an absolute beast. Like, she can't be stopped.
How about Sabalenka to win and the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl? Let's play a little parlay here.
How about just the Bills to beat the Ravens this week? Can we start slow? Can we? No.
The odd. No, I like the plus 500, plus 550 here. Plus this.
Fair enough.
I got to think big, Camp. All right, so the men's side, Yannick Sinner plus 125. Carlos Alcaraz, who's supposed to be the future of tennis, but this kid's learning the hard way. He said, I'm going to win 30 Grand Slams. Yeah, 30 of them. Okay. He's plus 350. Novak's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's got Andy Murray as his coach now, plus 450. Zverev is plus 650. Medvedev is 14-1. Taylor Fritz, you know what, Matthias? I'm going to jump in. I like Fritz's game. I became a fan. He won me money at the Davis Cup. I was pulling for him. He was a cool dude, and I was like one of the only loud people in the arena. Come on, Taylor! He looked over. It was like
thanks, friend.
A couple of times. You know what I mean?
Badass. Let's go.
Oh, the Canadians like me.
Remember I went to the Billie Jean Cup too, and there wasn't as many people there. I was sitting in the front row, and the Layla Fernandez match went on for like 4 hours. It was dead quiet. I was hammered, bro. By the end, I drank like 23 drinks.
Was that against Marino game?
Yeah, I told her just so loud. I said, "You effing got." I said, "Yeah." And I swore too loud. I was like, "You effing got this, girl. You got this." And she looked over at me. She was like, "Yeah." Like she was in, even though I swore. Like she was like, I was keeping her going. But, Sinner's the favorite at plus 125. Alcaraz plus 350. What's your pick, Matthias? Who's going to win the men's side?
Alcaraz. I'm going with Alcaraz.
I agree.
I like the price. That's why. If it was Yannick Sinner plus 350 and Alcaraz was, the favorite, I might say otherwise. But if you're giving me Alcaraz at plus 350, I'm 100% taking it, Gabe. I'm 100% taking it. I'm taking value. It's great price.
I'm taking Taylor Fritz at 20-1 too. I'm gonna maybe this kid can go on a run here.
Hey, Mateus, what about Jack
An American
Draper
is
and
due, bro.
Kalkinikis? That match is coming up. You got something for Draper or no? Nothing?
Draper versus who?
Madison
Kalkinikis.
Keys and Chapo. There's your ticket, kid. Madison Keys and Chapo. -1.
Anyway, he's some Greek guy. Kokki Kalkinikis. Yeah.
Okay, Cam's reaching here tonight. All right,
I really am.
You're on your own later.
Turns out the number 7 is lucky. It's the number of times we'll whack you upside the head if you ever start depending on luck. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.